of people, including a chief and an assistant chief, dead. In a press briefing, Matiang'i revealed that the government will deploy security officers to the region to help restore normalcy in the area as he'd put in place the night curfew.
We have placed the whole of Marsabit County under curfew. For 30 days, there will be a curfew in place in Marsabit between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. We have in the last 1 week build up, and we continue to build unprecedented security resources in Marsabit, because we must bring that county under peace, and we must ensure that all illegal firearms and illegal arms there are surrendered to law enforcement agencies.
The son of nominated Member of Parliament David Sankok died yesterday after allegedly shooting himself in the head at their home in Ewasunyiru, Narok County. Narok County Criminal Investigations Officer Mwenda Edhaiba said Sankok's son, who was a secondary school student, used his father's firearm to shoot himself. The 15-year-old high school student was supposed to join Form 3 after schools opened on April 25th. The government has banned the importation of second-hand buses and trucks into the country beginning July 1st this year. The Kenya Bureau of Standards, KEBS, said it will not allow the importation of passenger minibuses, midi-buses, large buses, single-articulated and bi-articulated business and double-decker buses. KEBS, however, gave second-hand tractors heads up and prime movers not older than 3 years a grace period of up to June 30th next year, after which they too will be banned and only new units can be imported into the country. Now, politicians allied to Deputy President William Ruto have urged Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka to quit Azimio la Umoja One Kenya, claiming he's not being appreciated in the outfit. The DP's allies alleged Kalonzo faced humiliation during the burial of former President Mwai Kibaki when he was denied the opportunity to address the mourners. The leaders were attending the burial of the late Janet Mudhoki, a daughter to UDA chairman Johnson Muthama.
So, mi nataka tujikaze in 2-3 weeks, tuunganishe Muthama na Kalonzo na Ruto na nani, tukutane tena pamoja. Alafu kwa heshima ya Mwenyezi Mungu, mupatie huyu mzee wetu akuwe governor ya area hii. Ndio anyoroshe dunia hii iende mbele. Ni mzee wa busara, anaelewa biashara, anaelewa maisha ya mtu wa kawaida, ni mtu amesajaliwa na Mwenyezi Mungu, lakini ni mnyenyekevu.
Journalists from across the world are observing the World Freedom Day today. The day is celebrated to emphasize the importance of a free press. As per the official website of the United Nations, May 3rd acts as a reminder to governments of the need to respect their commitment to press freedom. It is also a day of reflection among media professionals about issues of press freedom and professional ethics. That's your news today. My name is Stephanie Wangari.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
I like listening to you guys. You're the default radio station in my car in the morning. Even the children listen to you guys.
I agree Parliament has failed this country. And I will say it again. We have not done what we should have done.
We know in this country, the Kenya prison sector is one of the most underfunded sector.
The way it is being done and the way we're calling it Huduma number them Msema Kweli is because all records will be there. You know, there are people who are now billionaires with no history as to how they got all these assets.
Yes. Anything that the president does that is not in accord with the constitution is an illegal act. You know, he shouldn't be doing it, and he should be sitting here and trying to sort of guise it up.
I totally believe live transmission of results and allowing Kenyans to be able to view all these results. I believe that it will be impossible to steal elections.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Another day of a trafficless Nairobi looks like what we have in store today. Not much happening on these streets, that's for sure. Coming into Tuesday and another day of holiday, so folks are not really out and about just yet, at least. We're going to have a pickup of traffic just a little bit here and there around Landys Road. Machakos bus station will have some action today. Folks travelling in and out of the city. A little bit on Langata Road here and there. Don't know what is causing that. In the CBDs, you see the most of the traffic this morning, but it looks like getting off to a good start, and hopefully we can keep it just so. Keep things at a dull roll. We'll be here to see what it looks like in a short while. Talk to us on SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Text 40127.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Good morning to you. How are you doing? Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation on this third day of March 2022. Ndu. So how was yesterday?
Yesterday, fine. It was all right. Yeah.
What did you end up doing?
Sleeping.
Ah, that's a good thing.
Maybe too much.
That's a good thing. You overslept, didn't you?
Yeah.
Slept you?
Didn't I just?
Hey.
Maybe too much. It was generally chilling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mambo lakini.
Mambo freshi.
Kabisa.
Good.
Na wewe ulikuwa umefanya nini? Ulifanya nini jana?
I was just up and down all over the place. Round and round. Imagine.
Yeah. Up and down all over the place, round and round.
Yeah.
Wewe tu mmoja.
Kind of thing that, you just wonder, okay.
And also, while he was at it, something happened.
Uh-oh.
Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall.
And then he had a great fall. Clearly you.
And all the king's things.
Horses and men.
Did their thing.
And they couldn't actually quite do the thing. Yes, that's what happened when you're up and about.
Okay. How are you, CT?
Fine.
Uko freshi bwana Muga?
Mimi niko bambam.
Hey. You're bambaming. Okay.
By the way, that was a fiti equivalent in the days of my youth.
A what?
Fiti.
Oh, like poor mambo fiti.
Uko namna gani? Niko freshi, niko bambam.
Okay. I see. Nimeelewa.
Not chitty bambam. Yes, bambam.
Got it. See, did you hear Eric was all over the place and upside down yesterday?
Eric, when a brother is so open and so transparent so early in the morning, we have to thank God for him.
But if it's at night?
Because he's a night runner. It's not complicated.
If he's open and transparent at night?
No, he's open and transparent here and there and all over the place and about. That's called night running. But you have to appreciate a brother. Early in the morning, on national radio, a guy is giving you and the ins and outs of his activities is a good thing. See, for most of us, the response would have been perhaps at the very most 3 words. Nico too at least.
No, please. Who are you at least?
Higher. Vijana hoye. Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation. Today, let's have a conversation about the politics and what's happening in the country. Let's also have a conversation about the economy and what's happening in the country. So we have been seeing this, the headline in the papers that there's something about the central bank and instructions to banks on the issue of foreign exchange, and then response by the Kenya Bankers Association saying, no, there's no such instruction. But what we are seeing is, well, there's heightened demand for the dollar and a bit of a slow supply of the dollar, some Kizungu mob. So this morning we have invited the chief executive of the Kenya Bankers Association to come and tell us, are there dollars or are there no dollars?
And is there a shortage or not?
Yes. So no instructions officially, but has there been any communication from the central bank on the access to dollars? So Dr. Habilolaka will be with us from 7 a.m. to talk about the impact of the recent dollar shortage. Is there a dollar shortage or not? And he will tell us all about that, plus all the other conversation. And we look at COVID.
Yes, we will. Still low numbers in terms of reporting over the last 24 hours. Still at 513 million. Not bad in terms of looking at what the World Health Organization has been talking about, a decline in cases of COVID-19. If we look at numbers in the country, 6 new cases from a sample size of 1,248 gives us a positivity rate of 0.5% in Kenya. And New Zealand has opened its doors to tourists after a 2-year pandemic lockout. New Zealand has opened its borders to more international visitors after a pandemic lockout of more than 2 years. Travellers touched at Auckland Airport Monday, many to emotional reunions of family and friends. Remember, it was, that whole hullabaloo when they shut down the borders and families were separated. They couldn't travel for the holidays, and it was around Christmas. This was a month to Christmas 2 years ago, and folks were not allowed to travel in and out. So it was interesting to see some of those pictures where families were reunited, friends now were able to see each other. More people from more than 60 countries are now able to enter the country if they're vaccinated and COVID negative. Citizens have been able to travel in and out since March, while Australians have been let out in April. One US man said he traveled from Cincinnati to be with his partner. He had been waiting since February 2020 when he applied for the visa. He's finally here now. He's never been within 6,000 miles of the country, and the first time it's home. He says it's the best feeling he ever had. And quite a number of people have stories like that. New Zealand finally thought it was time to say, you know what, we can open as the rest of the world is as well. Right?
Okay. So getting back to normalcy.
Yes, more or less.
Slowly but surely, right?
If someone had wanted to put in place an experiment to determine whether human beings are truly relational creatures, they couldn't have asked for a better opportunity than the one that COVID provided. Because just listen to and observe what has happened to people because of isolation, because of not being able to travel, not being able to meet, not being able to... And look at our country and look at what the lengths that people went to ignore those orders. Human beings are relational creatures. Yep. We function best when we relate to other people. That's when we're at our best. Put us in isolation, put us in a place where we don't have human contact, we metamorphosize into something often not very positive. Yes.
It becomes a different issue altogether.
Oh, completely. And different in the most negative way possible.
We're live streaming the show on SpiceFM KE, YouTube and Facebook. If you're online, do the thing, and we will do the thing after we take a look at the weather forecast.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation. Brought to you by Colgate. Standard Group's Farm Kenya initiative is the umbrella entity for all agriculture-related channels, activities and investments. The media platforms under the Farm Kenya initiative include the Smart Harvest Weekly Pullout in the Saturday Standard, KTN Farmers TV, a 24-hour agribusiness TV station, Maisha Kilimo, a weekly agriculture show on Radio Maisha, AgriTalk on SpiceFM's morning show The Situation Room, and Grind na Agribiz on Vibes Radio morning show Morning Vibes. Find us online at www.farmers.co.ke, an integrated website that creates and aggregates agri-content, hosts a digital marketplace, and wide range of agri-data. Other platforms include specialized events such as the annual Mkulima Expo, quarterly Farmers Kenya Breakfast, and dedicated social media platforms at Farm Kenya 254. Farm Kenya, working to secure your growth.
Mostly cloudy conditions in Nairobi this morning at 17, highs of 23 and lows of 14. 14 is what it is in Nakuru this morning, highs of 23. We'll see highs of 23, rain showers in Nyeri as well, currently at 15. And at 13 degrees, it's mostly cloudy in Eldoret, highs of 23 and lows of 13. It's raining in Mombasa, 26. We'll see highs of 30 and lows of 25. Also rain showers in Malindi at 27, going to highs of 30 and lows of 26 today. 19 degrees and mostly cloudy in Kisumu, highs of 28, lows of 19, and at 17 it's mostly cloudy in Kakamega. We'll see highs of 27 and lows of 15. Mostly clear conditions out in Kampala, highs of 25, and we'll see highs of 31. In a mostly Dar es Salaam, currently at 24. At 11 degrees, it's clear in Johannesburg, highs of 21, and we'll see highs of 33 in Lagos, where it's mostly clear at 25. At 24, clear conditions in Kinshasa, highs of 33 and lows of 23. Looking out into Beijing into afternoon Tuesday, it's sunny at 23, highs of 32 and lows of 14, while at 9 degrees, it's clear in Paris, highs of 20, and we'll see highs of 16 in a clear London, currently at 11. 12 degrees and cloudy in New York Monday night. Coming into Tuesday, we'll see highs of 14 and lows of 10.
Classic soul, R&B, smooth jazz, neo soul, and nostalgic ballads.
Make some noise. Yeah.
You're listening to Spice FM. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself.
18 minutes after 6. People online.
Yes, David is in Nanyuki and he's saying he's streaming in to the conversation and enjoying the last lap of his holiday in Nanyuki. Just coming to the close of a long holiday, enjoying the last bit.
Where?
And Diego Santos says he's tuned in as well. Good morning, lovely people. Angela Nyang says she's up and ready to hear from us. All right. Good morning from Mombasa. That's where Robert Mbogo is. And Sky Karish, #1 radio station. Love you all. Lillian Odenge. Good morning. That's what Waterman Jeffrey says, and he's tuning from Minneapolis in Minnesota in the US. And Zachary Ondio says, good morning, tuning from Siaya. Watching live from Kericho. That's where Johnston is. And George Titus says, good morning to you folks. Good morning.
Where's George?
How are you, George?
Where is he?
Did you say where is he?
Yeah.
He doesn't say where he is. He just says good morning to you folks.
Well, good morning to you, George. And good morning to all the people who have good morninged us.
Yes.
Who have good morninged us. Good morning, the phrase, the greeting has now been turned into a verb. Okay. Michael Musili says good morning. He's really enjoying the show after the long weekend and really waiting for today's proverb. So CT, you better gear up and warm your hands because Michael is really anticipating this. 87.9 more blessings of rain here in Kilifi County. And that's what Patrick Fikirini says. Dagi Oguta says tune in from Kisumu, good morning. And John Tocho says good morning as well. Melinda Make is tuning from South Africa. And Charles Shialo says he's listening until the very end. Edu Mweki is tuned in from
Wiki
this morning.
Kila Mutu, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. CT, play like you.
Right. We are still in the Central African Republic. A big river is enlarged by its tributaries.
A big river is enlarged by its tributaries. I see.
I feel the depth.
You feel the depth?
I get it.
You feel the power?
I get it. Yeah.
So what are tributaries if you were to now equate a big river to
well, these
tributaries will be the children
rivulets,
or the wives?
Yes. Streams, rivulets.
I'm saying, so if you said a big man is enlarged by children or wives?
If you're speaking traditionally, then beyond his girth, we would say that he is enlarged by his
offspring,
wherewithal, as in offspring, farms, wives, relatives. The larger the circle around him, the greater his wealth, traditionally. But in this day and age, depending on who you ask, it's the number of followers they have on their Twitter.
So it's followers.
Yes. If it's a radio show like ours, the number of listeners. If it's the 8 o'clock hour, the number of viewers. If you are a pastor, an evangelist, the number of people in your congregation. If you're a businessman, the amount of debt that you have.
What's in the papers? www.standardmedia.co.ke. Become a member of our active online community. Premium content, the A to Z of the Kibaki administration is part of the content that's here on this particular platform. A journey from Anglo leasing scandal to a radically changed Kenya. Basically, they just look back into the Kibaki administration from the first time when he took oath of office, 30th of December 2002, until the moment when he handed over to Uhuru Kenyatta in 2013, looking into the years in between. And that's some good content that you find at www.standardmedia.co.ke.
I miss all the other things happening, quite some. The Standard is reporting a 26-year-old man who's been arrested over the murder of his estranged wife. Yet another killing that has happened between a man and his wife, or his partner. Police in Deya, Kiambu County have arrested a man accused of killing his estranged wife. Samuel Mbogwa, 26, is said to have travelled 52 kilometres from Deya to Rongai in Kajiado County, where his wife Faith Jambi lived, stabbed her twice and left her for dead. Okay. Jambi, 24, would later crawl out of her room to the door, desperately looking for help. Neighbours noticed her and rushed her to hospital in Rongai, where she was transferred to Nairobi Hospital, where she died while undergoing treatment. After allegedly committing the crime, Mbogwa is said to have called Njambi's elder brother, Stephen Kamanu, asking him to meet him in Nairobi. Kamanu, however, declined the invitation since they had not been in good terms following the troubled marriage between Mbogwa and his sister. Kamanu later received a text message from Mbogwa saying, "Wait for breaking news. It will be sad for you and my entire family." Mimi nishachoka. Nimekuwa nikiongea lakini najipata najiongelesha na vile Faith amenyambia hana haja na mimi. Na pia siezi kaa kuona na kusikia my son Jason anateseka, heri ni kufe na yeye. That was another text message that was then sent. Meanwhile, at Nairobi...
Who's sending these messages?
Mbogwa.
To?
Kamanu. This is a message he received from his brother.
His brother-in-law.
Brother-in-law. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah? Now, at Nairobi Hospital, meanwhile, Jambi's neighbours called her father, who arrived at the facility to find his daughter dead. Mbogwa and Jambi were neighbours in Duini village and members of the Kenya Assemblies of God, when Jambi's father is a senior pastor. The two met last year after Jambi's graduation from college, fell in love and married. However, after living together for a short time, neighbours said the marriage started having trouble and Jambi separated from her husband and moved to Rongai, where she worked as an accountant in a supermarket. On Facebook, after Jambi's death, Mbogwa had threatened to commit suicide. He posted, "It is always sad, heartfelt, to say goodbye to someone you love. I say goodbye to you with all my friends and families. Nitawamiss sana, tutaonana tena. God will always protect you and provide for you till we meet again. I loved you." It is this Facebook post and text messages that jolted the police to start hunting for Mbogwa, whose phone had been switched off by that time. Officers from Deya Police Station and Duini Police Post were alerted in the night that Mbogwa had been trying to sneak into his compound in Duini. The officers laid a trap at his parents' compound, and at about 1 a.m., Mbogwa sneaked in and went to bed in his house. The heavily armed officers then stormed into his house, arrested Mbogwa, and took him to Tigoni police station. He was later moved to Rongai police station, where he will be arraigned.
So,
Ask.
There's a bit there that I just didn't get. These text messages, this is brother-in-law. Explain the connection again.
Okay. Mbogwa is the alleged killer.
And is the husband
And
too.
he's the husband.
The estranged husband.
He's the estranged husband who is now the prime suspect in the death of Jambi.
Okay.
Okay? Kamanu is the brother to Jambi.
Okay.
Now, Kamanu had been requested by Mbogwa to meet. Kamanu said no. We shall not meet because we have not been in good terms.
Okay.
He later received 2 text messages from Mbogwa.
Okay.
At this time, he did not know his sister was dead. First message was, wait for breaking news. This is after he refused to meet him. Wait for breaking news, blah, blah, blah. It'll affect you and my whole family. The second was, now all this about how I'm tired and I was waiting. I was talking, but nobody was talking to me. And I was also talking, but Faith now, the late, was not talking to me either. She had already told me that she doesn't have any business with me. And he said he could not sit back and let his son be mistreated.
Okay.
That is the second message he sent to Kamanu. All right. And then disappeared.
Aye. Aye. There's a lot that's happening there. There's of course, the entire just breakdown in communication between this couple. And there's the anguish that each of them is going through.
Yeah, I mean,
there's one who's gone all the way to Rongai, and this other one who's left in Deya, and the messages, and there's a lot that's happening.
Sure.
This
And
gentleman,
there's no intervention that's
no, there isn't an intervention, and yet, if they are parted, their families must have known they were parted.
Yes.
Yeah, Kamanu said they were not talking because he refused to meet him
Yes.
because of that estranged
Yes.
relationship already.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the young lady's father is a senior pastor.
Yeah.
It is such individuals that people normally go for marital counseling.
Yeah.
If it is your own daughter and you're unable to, surely there must be somebody in your congregation who might be able to offer some. Because this gentleman, everything you've read about it, the guy was obsessing.
Yeah.
Which means there are those who would argue, let me put it this way, he was not entirely in his right state of mind.
He wasn't.
No.
And he needed help.
He wasn't.
Oh,
It's crazy.
when are we going to come to an end?
I know. And you can imagine she was stabbed, but she did not die. She made it to the door where neighbors came and then helped her and then took her to hospital, after which she was then transferred to Nairobi. I wonder if she said anything. I wonder if she was able to muster the strength to speak. She obviously knew who stabbed her. She knew who stabbed her.
Because she called the neighbor's attention.
Yeah. She knew who stabbed her and eventually killed her. She knew who that was, you know. So.
Yeah. It is a sad story. A really sad story. Let's take a break, though. Let's take a break and talk about the new Galaxy A series range, where awesome is what we are doing. The new A33, A53, A73. Brand new, by the way. These ones, when you say new, we're not saying at new. They're new.
As if you say, as of real.
As of real. Just come out of production. Just come out of development. Freshly minted, freshly launched globally. And they're available in the country. A33, A53, and A73. We'll be telling you about each of these new devices and also how you can trade in your previous A series or J series or Grand Prime series to this new A series. For more details, visit badili.africa, #partners, not hashtag, but slash. badili.africa /partners /Samsung. 6:30. Good morning.
Classic soul, R&B, smooth jazz, neo soul, and nostalgic ballads.
Make some noise. Yeah.
You're listening to Spice FM.
Not much of it on these streets this morning. We saw a little bit of hiccup around Landis Road. Likely to continue for most of today. Quite a lot of folks travelling in and out of the city. Still looking at a bit of traffic as you get onto North Airport Road from Mombasa Road. But again, nothing too crazy at this point. Probably not going to have any trouble with traffic today at all. Coming off Thika Superhighway into the city and then outbound as well. It should be easy street, literally, because CBD also, nothing much going on there. We just have that Kamkunji roundabout coming off Landis is where you have a bit of a hold up. But let's keep an eye on things through the morning. Just in case you run into something, let us know. We'll share. SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Text 40127.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right.
Okay.
94.4.
So for once, are reporting to school as parents decry list of costly requirements. We've been talking about this story for a while. Hayawi, it is this week. Apart from school fees, parents will pay more for books, bedding, stationery, sports equipment, among other requirements in the wake of harsh economic times. Unlike in the past, when transition to secondary happened in January after long December holidays, this 2022 group is expected to report almost mid-year and is set to complete a 3-term program by December.
Mm-hmm.
Admission letters seen by the Standard instruct parents to ensure the students report without fail on May 4th and pay school fees in full. Speaking to the Standard, a parent said she spent 27,350 on uniforms, including blazers, jumpers, socks, trousers, and shirts for just one student. This is 27,000 on uniform alone, and pay school fees in full.
And
Don't
you've
joke.
not bought supplies.
She said she had to travel to Nairobi to buy the uniform from a specific shop identified by the school. She says she was yet to buy the shoes or the mattresses or blankets. And she has already spent how much?
27,350.
Imagine. In Kisumu, majority of the extra county schools and county schools have instructed parents to pay for school fees, to pay for school uniform on the reporting date. According to admission letters, most schools are charging between 5,650 and 10,500 for school uniform. Learners are required to part with 2,000 and 2,500 for jumpers, 350 for school IDs.
250 shillings.
350 for school IDs.
Okay.
Some schools have instructed learners to pay for school shoes, blankets, 3-inch mattresses, jumpers and bed covers when they report. At Nyeri Boys High School in Kisumu, students will part with more than 8,000 shillings for school uniform, including a jumper which costs 2,500. What is a jumper?
It's the thing you wear on top of the sweater.
Is it a new thing?
It's like that. In some schools, it's the fleece thing, the jacket,
Yeah.
the hood.
Yeah.
Others, it's just the jacket-ish, soft jacket
Sleeveless.
that you wear on top of the sweater.
Okay, that thing looks like a bulletproof vest.
That, in some cases, yes.
Like a sleeveless thingy.
No, it's got sleeves.
This
It's got
one
full
is sleeve.
sleeves. It's got full sleeves.
Probably with a hoodie.
Yeah.
You know, the theory behind students paying for the uniform fees makes sense.
Yes.
It makes sense in the sense that if you were to consider the economies of scale that you derive from it, it ought to work out as being cheaper. But we have to ask the question, does it?
Listen to this one. St. Cecilia Girls High School, Misihu, is charging 9,300 for school uniform and 2,000 for a 3-inch mattress. Learners will also, I would do that math, 9,300 plus 2,000 is 11,300. Okay, now let's keep adding. Learners will also pay 250 shillings for stockings. They'll pay 1,020 for bed covers, 400 shillings for a bag, 2,250 for shoes, 350 bob for labeling of the items, 350 shillings for school ID. Hiyo pesa ngapi?
How many times are they getting this school ID?
Mali tuko hapa sai 15,920.
15,000?
Yes.
Okay, this is minus school fees. Now pay school fees in full.
And in full is for the whole year.
Sindio.
But it's madness.
It's absolute madness, the undiluted kind. Because, let me tell you, that thing they're saying of come and pay school fees in full on the 4th of May, it's not going to happen. And they will have to accept that it is not going to happen. And people are going to come to school. They will take what they can get. They will take what they can get.
It's cray.
I'm telling you.
There's a school in Nakuru which, besides other requirements like stationery, a number of girls' schools have asked for Form 1 students to report with petticoats.
I beg your pardon?
Yeah, kamisi.
Kamis
Not
petticoat.
on top of that, there's kamusi.
Kamusi is what we normally refer to as the dictionary. Yeah.
You should come with kamusi and kamisi.
Yes, both. And if you have the dictionary, it can explain to you what the kamisi is.
And listen to the kamusi. Kamusi teule ya Kiswahili, toleo la EAEP, or kamusi ya Kiswahili sanifu.
I told you, semi, medali.
No, go on, you're doing okay.
Oxford Advanced Learners Dictionary, a hymn book, and a Bible. There's some schools where students are expected to wear jerseys of different colors depending on the dormitories that they'll be assigned. They'll also have beddings of different colors to distinguish occupants of the respective dormitories.
You know what it has become? It's become a commercial enterprise, unfortunately.
Has become?
Yeah.
It's a continuing. I mean...
It's ridiculous.
So the general idea of uniforms, according to this story in the Standard, from all the letters that they've seen, uniforms include skirts, 3 blouses, a long-sleeved sweater, a short-sleeved sweater, a polo neck a sweater, a tracksuit, 3 pairs of white socks, a pair of trousers, a half coat, bow tie, t-shirt, necktie, lab coat, towel, 4-inch mattress, 2 blankets, a pair of bed sheets, bed cover, bucket, and a dozen pegs.
Me, I'm still on bow tie.
The bow tie.
And then you still need a proper tie.
Yeah.
What?
Now, this uniform, there's something I wanted to find.
And then there's a sleeveless jacket and there's a jacket with sleeves.
Okay, fine, that's fine. Now, this...
And there's polo neck.
Now, this uniform that they want the students to come with, how many sets?
3 blouses, a long-sleeved sweater, a short-sleeved sweater, a polo neck sweater. How many sweaters are those?
3.
Okay. Tracksuit is a pair. 3 pairs of white socks, a pair of trousers, a half coat, a bow tie, a t-shirt, a necktie, a lab coat, a towel, a 4-inch mattress, 2 blankets, a pair of bed sheets, a bed cover, a bucket, and a dozen pegs.
Specifically a dozen?
Yeah, unakuja na mbili na uko na
1 peg for each clothing item. Look here. No. They don't use pillows?
You know, which paper are you looking at?
Standard.
Okay, I'm also looking at the Standard. But there's an interesting twist to this story. You know, it's an entire saga.
Yes.
It's like a series.
Yes.
Okay?
Those things you get.
It's a series, yes. The Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers, KUPPET, supported the school's decision to sell uniforms to students.
Of course they did.
Secretary General Akelo Misori said school requires learners to have 1 uniform.
Okay, I get what he's trying to say. It's just that sometimes there's a problem. I understand what he's trying to say.
What is he trying to say?
Uniformity. As in 1 uniform means we want you to look alike, you get.
Yes.
Not 1 uniform as in 1 piece.
And allowing learners to buy them from different shops would compromise this.
Yes. That's true.
Actually, no, it doesn't.
Buana. There's grey, there's grey,
No,
there's grey.
it actually doesn't.
We want
Because,
grey.
no, it doesn't.
Grey.
It doesn't. Once the school informs the various outlets of the specific fabric that they require, they will have it.
You see, those are various outlets.
I'm telling you,
That's
from
already now.
experience,
That
CT.
already is saying exactly what Akelo Misori is saying.
Now, when I say outlets,
because if you go to Toy Market and Gikomba and then you go to these other shops, they have not been informed by the school.
No, they haven't, but they will know. What I'm trying to say is, let me read it by saying what parents have said.
Okay.
Parents have said that the government should issue a directive requiring schools to allow learners to buy uniforms from other items from places of their choice.
Yes.
No, I'm telling you, see, this thing, it doesn't work because...
Now, when you go to a place of your choice, that's what I'm saying. If you go now to anywhere and you've been told, come with red or come with maroon, you'll come with different shades.
Even in the same shop, I'm telling you, even
Yes.
in the same shop,
Because
I was buying
schools with
T-shirts.
different...
In the same school, I was buying T-shirts for different sizes. Different sizes. The shades are different. This is the same shop, same school, and they have the same supply. The shades are different.
By design, or was it just the shop
They just said
being
this
silly?
size. No, they just said this size. We couldn't get it in this shade,
Oh, you
but
see.
we have gotten this one.
You see, now that is because they could. This was a supply constraint,
Mhm.
but they already had been told this is the shade of
that we want. Yes.
we want. Unfortunately, in this case, now they couldn't. But now you see what
No,
they've.
but now you'll go to that shop and that's what you have, you
What
buy
they've
it.
ensured is at least all the large kids will look the same,
The little one.
and all the little ones will look the same. You see, at least there's some uniformity, which is what Akelo Misori is saying.
Mm.
However, if you went now, you've been told what colors are these in our studio. What are these colors? These 3 different colors.
So there's deep red, there's burnt orange, and then there's orange.
Ah, my friend. So if we were told orange and you went with any of this, see?
You know, me, I don't know what the fuss is about.
So long as they kind of look the same.
So
if
long
there's
as-
a sea of children and you can tell
So-
that is blue.
And there's a
There's
school
no
emblem on the
problem.
uniform.
Yes, a distinguishing thing is school emblem is the same. We know what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
But now, season 1, episode 2. Okay. In Nandi schools, the schools instructed parents to report on May the 4th, failure to which they would lose their slots. Now, the Standard team, are quoting a letter that they got from Mount Carmel Mary Hill School, Thika. Please note that failure to report on the specific dates means your place will be offered to someone else. So, apart from extortion, now, schools are actually issuing physical threats to parents. Because it's physical.
Don't joke with us.
Where?
You bring your child
They're
or we
basically
move
letting
on.
you know how when you book a flight and you're put on the waiting list. This is it, more or less. Everybody's on the waiting list.
Yes.
Everybody's on the waiting list, whether you're a returning student or you're a new student. If you miss
We
May
want to know
4th
whether you're coming or
like
not.
this, very fast, we put somebody there. Sorry.
You know I have to.
We're not dealing with poor people here.
You know, I have to go.
That's a message.
I have to go down memory lane here. Many years ago, when I was a classroom teacher, they presented itself this situation where teachers would offer to tuition students. Okay?
Yeah.
Understandable. There are students who needed assistance. And parents were willing to pay. Up to that point, so it's understandable.
Clear.
I, however, had raised this question. If you really want to help the students, why don't you ask the parents to come and pick the students an hour later so you can tuition them within the school compound? Or better still, why don't you present yourself on a Saturday, let the school write letters to parents and say, we're offering tuition classes to students, blah, 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 free. Because you are paid to make sure those students understand.
Yes.
But then when a tuition class has the same number of students as the ones you have in class, there's something
There's a
wrong with
problem.
you.
There's a problem.
There's something absolutely wrong with you. There's something, because now it's become a business. So essentially it's like you don't teach during class and you teach during tuition.
What did,
Yeah, because
what
it's a
did your
little
fellow
bit of
teachers
extra.
tell you? With this brilliant idea of yours, what did they tell you? What was their teacher's response?
Many of my colleagues tell them they're not coming to school on Saturday.
Of course.
I taught on Saturday. Everything I'm saying, I did. I would even come to school at 6:30, 7 to 8, I teach. But you see, I was rewarded. My students did very well.
Oh, this one is doing anajipendekeza.
Anataka pewe promotion.
Pewe promotion.
Now, you see, the point is, the joy of teaching wasn't the promotion. It was how well your students did. That was the reward. When students did well, man, there was a good feeling somewhere around the chest that you couldn't just, you couldn't chase away.
Yeah.
I didn't know that this commercialization of teaching and the greed would metamorphosize into what we're seeing today. Well, from the material that you use in school to the very process of students going to school. I remember I was surprised once when I was being told of a very, it was called a provincial school. The headmaster of that school was very, very enterprising. That headmaster had one class. He had created a class. That class was for parents who wanted to come and speak to him.
What do you mean?
Meaning, everybody else goes through that system where you're chosen, blah, 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 correctly. But there's one class. If your child didn't quite meet but you want the child to come in, you're told, yes.
Come and see the headmaster.
The headmaster tells you it is possible. But what would make the possibility greater is an enabler. It's called the Kenya shilling. And it is this amount.
If you can, fine.
Oh, no. Parents could. It was a good school. Yeah. It's a very, very good school. So
there's an extra stream
yes.
that was basically supplementing the school's income.
It was a headmaster's stream. You know, when I first heard it, I said no, because I knew the guy. I said no.
It's not possible.
That guy can't. When I followed.
He can.
Oh, no, it was true.
It was.
And the parents were happy.
To do it.
Yes. In fact, what alerted me to it was a parent. I remember I myself was a head teacher. So the parent told me,
what don't you do like?
No, they told me, Yule is now, Yule Mtotowako. The child had now left school, going from 2, said, alichukuliwa hapa. I said, how?
Yeah.
Because the marks that child had gotten.
Ulijua kwamba.
No, I mean the points,
There's no way he'd have gone entered that
the
school.
points were, it was out of 500. But if you look at the child's marks, you thought it was out of 200. So you thought, how? Told me, unajua, kuna yule mwalimu anaelewa sana bana. Yule mtu ni mkarimu sana bana. Wajua, tumeongea nini. I said, okay. He went, because I got used to it, he gave me details and I said, okay. And indeed, the child went there. The child came to see me to tell me, walimu wajua nilienda, nilichukuliwa hapa na hapa, very happy. What I'm saying is this. Right now, that was quiet, hush, you didn't know. It's in the open now.
Yeah.
Blatant.
Yeah. It's the life.
Now you tell me, students going to these schools, by the time a child is going to secondary school, they understand a great deal. You think they don't know the struggles their parents are going through
to get them to school? Their parents. They know.
You think the children themselves don't read the acceptance letter and all these details?
They can see.
They can see. What do you think you're inculcating in these children? We have a bandit economy.
Completely.
No. This
completely.
You wait.
Completely.
Children are going to be advising their parents, Daddies, you just give that policeman 200 shillings so that we can go.
Yeah.
Yes, no.
Just let us pass.
Yes, just give them.
But what's your problem? How much is he asking for?
How much is he asking for? It's already happening. I say right now, with just as an example, the closure of schools because of COVID and then other extracurricular activities, things like going on trips and such, obviously those came to an end. Teachers will ask students, you guys don't feel like going on trips?
Yes.
Tell your parents that you want to go on trips.
Yes.
Tell them to now talk to the head teacher so that you guys can start going on trips.
That's what the teacher said.
Yeah.
Yes.
She said we are going
Clean.
on trip. It's not for jokes. This one, apana.
But
this commercialization is quite crazy. Let me tell you about 7,200. That's the number. Parties face bruising contest after 7,200 independents get clearance. As the deadline for independent candidates to be cleared by the Registrar of Political Parties ended last night, Kevin Odhiambo, 37, was among those seeking to succeed President Uhuru Kenyatta. Odhiambo, a businessman, is among 47 independent candidates seeking the presidency. He promises to change the constitution to allow for a grand coalition government that will bring together President Kenyatta, his deputy William Ruto, and Azimio La Umoja flag bearer Raila Odinga in his government. So he will be the president and these fellas.
Who is this?
Kevin Odhiambo.
Kevin Odhiambo. He's the presidential aspirant. Candidate now that he's been cleared.
Which country?
Kenya.
He's gone through,
the process
register of political parties.
Yeah.
His symbol has been approved. Now he goes to IEBC. The question is whether these people are going to go to IEBC and pay and get cleared.
It's not me. I continue telling you this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So now, Kevin, he says he wants to ensure that the synergies of all the top leaders are tapped to ensure unity and development. Azimio's 10-point agenda and the bottom-up and Pesa Mfukoni are all brilliant manifestos that need to be brought together. He plans to bring a constitutional amendment in the first year, which will, among other things, make him a ceremonial president, with a pentagon of leaders below him. The independent candidate, who plans to unveil his running mate on Wednesday in Mathare, Nairobi, plans to create a small and medium enterprise ministry to spur job creation. He pledges to give single mothers 20,000 shillings upkeep a year. So he's many things to do. So he was among one of the 7,200 hopefuls that had been cleared to vie for the 6 elective positions in the August 9th general election. Thousands of disgruntled nomination losers in Ruto's United Democratic Alliance, Raila's ODM, and Jubilee opted to vie as independents. This follows the amendment of the Political Parties Act that barred any aspirant from switching parties after losing the nominations. Losers are now allowed to deregister from their parties and vie as independent candidates. Registrar of Political Parties Anne Derrito said registration of the independent candidates will end at midnight and they will seek to ensure everyone gets an opportunity to be cleared. She went on to say, we have our system where the independent candidates are supposed to follow the procedures therein and make sure the process is professional, fair and legitimate. Once they complete the registration in the portal, the system verifies and generates a certificate which we sign and give to them. She spoke as her staff attended to thousands of independent candidates who converged at Western's Primary School in Nairobi yesterday to either collect their certificates or get clearance through the IPPMS system that automatically deregisters one from any political party before approving the paperwork required and award of certificates. So they saw quite a number of folks decamp from their parties and vie, or rather, and apply to go independent. She said there will be no extension after that deadline of yesterday to register independent candidates. Nobody, unless the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, the IEBC, decides to give those interested more time. She said, unless they do that, but May 2nd was it. She attributed the increase in the numbers of independent candidates compared to the 4,000 last year, or rather last year, to the ease of registration and reduced paperwork required.
It's number one, it's interesting that we have this very many people who are seeking elective positions, because these are 7,000 people in addition to the very many who will come with various political party certificates.
Yeah.
How will the ballot papers look like? I wonder whether our friend Pigeon is among the 47 who...
He is. I saw his name.
I've also seen
Pigeon is there. Odemwengu.
Ouma.
Yes.
His full names.
So Pigeon Odemwengu is among them. Now, the next step is go to IEBC and get all those things sorted. And then IEBC says, yes, you're on the ballot. So we'll have 47 independents. Then we have Raila, we have Ruto, we have Jimmy Wanjege, we have Ruben Kigame. Who else do we know? Who have political parties? Yeah, there's Justin Muturi. There's Mwangi wa Iria.
Yes. And the list goes on.
But the issue now here will be whether people like Justin Muturi, Mwangi wa Iria will get cleared on that issue of whether their party has met the 2/3 threshold.
That's another issue.
Of all the nominees.
You know, Eric, one of the things that is certain to happen is that we will open yet a new chapter in understanding how we deal with our electoral process, but also, in my mind, raise the question of, is this the best way to go about electing our leaders?
Which one now? This
thing that we're doing, just this whole process. Is it?
As opposed to?
As opposed to a system that was modified by Papua New Guinea, but operated in Australia, where you don't just vote. No. When you go to vote, you are given choices. Who's your number 1 candidate? Who's your number 2 candidate? Who's your number 3 candidate? Okay? Now, when they then sit down to determine They put all the number ones in one place, number twos and number threes.
So it's like a poll.
Yes. Rarely do you have anybody who gets that number one
universally.
Yes. So you go to number two. So when you get number two, again you put them in piles. So the person who then this is the equivalent of a runoff. The person who gets the most as a number two now can emerge winner. Now, the reason why this electoral system I found was interesting was when you go campaigning, for instance, if I go to campaign in an area I know I'm not popular, I'll say, folks, I want you to elect your son, by all means. Okay? But just vote for me number two.
So everybody's campaigning to be number two.
Number one or number two. But you see, so if my number one doesn't win, I can say, but you know my number two won. Precisely. That reaction is perfect. You know why?
Complicated.
Precisely. But it affords you an opportunity where there is nothing like the winner takes all.
But the winner has taken all.
But the winner takes all anyway.
No.
Whether it's the number two person,
no.
Does the number two then consider the number one?
No. The winner takes all, but people are given the opportunity to have more than one voice in electing a leader. Here we're given one.
Yeah.
There you're given three.
You'll tell us about that. No. Give us that at 8 o'clock.
Hold it, prepare it.
Prepare it nicely.
For 8 o'clock.
For 8. Take us through it. This is number one, number two, number three.
Everybody
Who is the
has
number two,
three
number
chances.
three?
Three people, or I can vote 3 times. CT.
That you're asking the right questions and you're on the right path. It's very good.
Papua New Guinea. Before we go to the top of the hour, so dusk to dawn curfew has been imposed in volatile Marsabit. Interior CS Fred Matiang'i declared that month-long curfew to pave way for security operation. The dusk to dawn curfew comes in the wake of killings blamed on rivaling local leaders. Police officers have been instructed to get the criminals behind the insecurity and at the same time mop up illegally held firearms. So several units of the police are going to be deployed there. This is the GSU, the QRU, the RDU, the ATPU, and all the UUUs. You. So if you are caught outside during these curfew times, you will be declared a combatant and you will be dealt with properly. Matiang'i is also saying, they're also suspecting there's some mining that's taking place in Isiolo, and the proceeds of this mining are also being used to fund this violence.
What are they mining?
I don't know. Plus, also, he's even brought in another angle, that maybe the proceeds of this, plus what's happening in Marsabit, could also be aiding terrorism activities in the country.
How many people needed to die before this curfew was put in place?
Apparently about 25. That's what needed to happen.
Okay.
Many. Tell us about Colgate.
Let me tell you that water has been a scarce resource for a lot of people, not being able to get it. Children had to go out really early in the morning to look for water in many parts, remote and otherwise, in the country. And Colgate, together with Well Boring, have so far sunk 90 water wells, provided with quite a number water for quite a number of people, and said, you know what, we can do a little bit more. So they said, you know what, go into Naivas, buy Colgate, 10 shillings from that purchase will go towards making sure we can sink 30 more water wells in the country and provide water for 120,000 more Kenyans. You can all be a part of this. We can do it together and make sure that folks don't have to be, beholden by waterborne diseases and other things like that when they don't have access to clean water.
Keep it here for more conversations. Coming up in the next hour, we talk to Dr. Habil Olaka, the CEO of the Kenya Bankers Association. We want to understand the issue with the availability of US dollar and other foreign currencies. This is Kenya's biggest conversation, the Situation Room. We also will be opening up the conversation that CT has just introduced here. Well, he's talked to us about it before. We'll talk about it at 8. We have independent candidates, we have candidates from political parties, and now there's a new twist on how else can we vote our leaders. Good morning, 7 a.m.
Spice up your life. The latest news from around the world.
Good morning. This is Newswire. I am Stephanie Wangari. Journalists from across the world are observing the World Freedom Day today. The day is celebrated to emphasize the importance of a free press. As per the official website of the United Nations, May 3rd acts as a reminder to governments of the need to respect their commitment to press freedom. It is also a day of reflection among media professionals about issues of press freedom and professional ethics. Now, Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i has declared a night curfew in Marsabit for the next 30 days. The curfew was effected yesterday and will run until June 1st. This comes in the wake of last Thursday's banditry attack that left 5 people, including a chief and an assistant chief, dead. In a press briefing, Matiang'i revealed that the government will deploy security officers to the region to help restore normalcy in the area as he put in the night curfew.
We have placed the whole of Marsabit County under curfew. For 30 days, there will be a curfew in place in Marsabit between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. We have in the last 1 week built up and we continue to build unprecedented security resources in Marsabit because we must bring that county under peace and we must ensure that all illegal firearms and illegal arms there are surrendered to law enforcement agencies.
The Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission has suspended registration of voters until March 13, 2023. Those who will be affected by the move are Kenyans who want their polling stations changed and those living in the diaspora. Through a Gazette notice, IEBC Chairperson Wafula Chebukati said the move will allow the Commission to enable availability of register of voters to the public for purposes of verification of biometric data and particulars of registered voters. Chebukati also said that the new preliminary register of voters has been completed and it is available for verification, an exercise that will start on May 4th for a period of 30 days. In matters politics, politicians allied to Deputy President William Ruto have urged Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka to quit Azimio la Umoja One Kenya, claiming he is not appreciated in the outfit. The DP's allies alleged Kalonzo faced humiliation during the burial of the former President Mwai Kibaki when he was denied the opportunity to address the mourners. The leaders were attending the burial of the late Janet Muthoki, a daughter to UDA chairman Johnston Muthama.
So, mi nataka tujikaze in 2-3 weeks. Tuunganishe Muthama na Kalonzo na Ruto na nani. Tukutane tena pamoja. Alafu kwa heshima ya Mwenyezi Mungu, mupatie huyu mzee wetu akuwe governor ya area hii. Ndio anyoroshe dunia hii iende mbele. Ni mzee wa busara, anaelewa biashara, anaelewa maisha ya mtu wa kawaida, ni mtu amejaliwa na Mwenyezi Mungu lakini ni mnyenyekevu.
The son of nominated Member of Parliament David Sankok died yesterday after allegedly shooting himself in the head at their home in Ewasunyiro, Narok County. Narok County Criminal Investigations Officer Mwenda Edhaiba said Sankok's son, who is a secondary school student, used his father's firearm to shoot himself. The 15-year-old school student was supposed to join Form 3 after schools opened on April 25th, but was yet to. In matters international, UEFA has banned Russia from the Women's Europe Championship in July and from participating in qualifying for next year's World Cup following the country's invasion of Ukraine. UEFA said Portugal will take Russia's place in the Women's Euro 2022 being hosted by England in July. Russia qualified by beating Portugal in the playoffs round. The latest round of sporting sanctions during Russia's war on Ukraine follow FIFA and UEFA suspending Russia national and club teams in February from playing in international competitions, including the Men's World Cup playoffs. That's your news at the top of the hour. My name is Stephanie Wangari.
SpiceFM, Nakuru.
Not much traffic this morning, and we're looking at most parts of the city. Things at a dull row. I think it's going to remain that way for most of the day. The most action we'll see is just at that junction between Jogo Road and Landis. Quite some action right there around that Machakos terminus. So traffic in and outbound a little bit there as you're going towards the Kamkunji roundabout and then into the city via Luthuli, Moy Avenue, into Accra Road, all of that. action taking place. But Thika Superhighway, Mombasa Road, coming off Langata Road, Bagathi Way, Railo Dinga Way, and then coming into the city, it looks pretty good. Hopefully remain that way for most of today. SpiceFM KE on Twitter, text 40127.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up.
It's 6 minutes after 7. Good morning to you. It's the third day of March 2022.
The only way to start your day.
March because we know what we want to see at the end of March. Reduction in power bills.
By a further 15%.
By 15%. And the opening of the Nairobi Expressway, among other things. We just want to place those two as the main highlights and milestones that will usher us into April.
Soon it'll become like Ethiopia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ethiopia is about to, I think, celebrate the new year.
Oh.
Different calendar. They aren't the only ones. Chinese also have a completely different calendar from the one that we use.
Yes.
And so their new year and our new year, we look at it this way. They have an opportunity to have more than one new year, isn't it?
I think I see what then is happening. So the president is actually taking us into a new era where we shall create our new Kenyan calendar.
Precisely. We've eliminated 1 month completely from our calendar. So our calendar will probably have 11 months.
So there's a vacuum where things should have happened in a certain month. What you do is you chuck the month completely.
No, you make things, you put in some wish list, and until it happens,
Yeah,
you
until
don't
it
start
happens
a new year.
So the Gregorian calendar has now been tossed out.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing. We have a new guest in the studio, but before we introduce him, let's hear the day's proverb. City Muga.
We are still in the Central African Republic. A big river is enlarged by its tributaries.
A big river is enlarged by its tributaries.
Meaning it's not big on its own efforts. It's combined effort.
It is haba na haba.
And the kebaba has been jazzed.
I see. Okay. Central African Republic.
The capital, for your information, is Bangui. It's spelled Bangui. It's pronounced Bangui.
Then why do they write Bangui? If they want to pronounce it Bangui.
Capital is Bangu.
Yes, Bangui.
The I is the one that is silent. Why are you deciding the U is silent?
The owners of the country said
Bangu. Dr. Habil Olaka is the CEO of the Kenya Bankers Association. He joins us in the studio now. Dr. Olaka, good morning.
Good morning.
Karibu sana to Kenya's biggest conversation.
Thank you very much.
And as you be living, we have all filled our different loan applications. You'll go to your members and tell them, you ni Eric, you ni Ndu, you ni City. Just consider them.
They're good friends.
I'm sure they're looking forward to that.
At those preferential rates. Can tell them, these are my people. I know them.
They're good peeps.
They're good peeps.
For the rates, you negotiate yourself.
But that's why we're talking to you. I mean, what's the point of knowing you? Tell us about the Kenya Bankers Association. Who are they?
Yeah, the Kenya Bankers Association is the umbrella body for the commercial banks in Kenya. Initially, it was just the commercial banks, those that are licensed under the Banking Act. But over time, the players in the banking sector certainly were more than just those licensed by the Banking Act. So the Governing Council of the Kenya Bankers Association did make a decision to amend our constitution to allow other entities playing within the banking space but not licensed under the Banking Act to become members. So, for example, those licensed under the Microfinance Act, which are the microfinance banks, are now eligible to become members. And so our membership has grown from just commercial banks to microfinance banks.
Deposit-taking microfinance.
Deposit-taking microfinance banks, yes.
Okay. SACCOs, no.
SACCOs, no. They have got their own umbrella body.
Okay. So what do you do at Kenya Bankers Association? Is it for advocacy or is it?
Yes, our main
SACCO?
Our main mandate is advocacy.
Right.
So we do engage the various policy stakeholders in our environment to ensure that the policy environment evolves in a way that is conducive for our members to play their role. So we engage, for example, the National Treasury, we engage the Central Bank as a regulator, we engage parliamentarians, because parliamentarians can come up with laws that can affect your landscape in different ways. We engage consumer public, we engage various stakeholders that can in any way influence the policy environment within the bank, within which the banks operate. That's our main mandate, but we also do, because of our position in terms of getting feedback from the consumers, we then do help the banks come up with initiatives that jointly try to address those concerns or issues that come from the consumers. So, for example, we have had the likes of a check truncation project, which was based on feedback from the consumers. We try to come up with those projects that would either increase efficiency within the banking sector or to do with security within the banking sector, or generally projects that would be done at the industry level. So we have got initiatives like, for example, Kachonjo, which is creating awareness to the consumers on what you need to be aware of as you transact with the various, along the various channels of transacting with the banks. We also run the clearinghouse jointly with, in close collaboration with the Central Bank, because Central Bank has got a mandate over the national payment system, but we own the clearinghouse, and so we work very closely with the Central Bank to ensure that the clearinghouse is as efficient as possible. And that's how we came up with the check truncation system. The last one, which has been a traditional role, is industrial relations. So we do negotiate the collective bargaining agreement with the union on behalf of the banks as employers. And we do this every 2 years. Yeah.
So when you talk about things like PesaLink, is there an association or a link?
Yeah. Now, PesaLink, there is a subsidiary of the Kenya Bankers Association called IPSL, Integrated Payment Services Limited, that runs the PesaLink platform. Now, the PesaLink platform is meant to facilitate banks to be able to enable consumers transact in real time from one bank account to another bank account in different banks. So, like, for example, I could transact by moving money from my account to your account in real time in separate banks. And that can be done instantaneously.
Okay. Yeah. So that's a profit-making side of Kenya Bankers Association, because you charge a fee.
It's a subsidiary that is running on its own.
Yeah.
Yes, it can make profits, but it hasn't made profits yet.
Why? Why has it not made profits?
It's still at the initial stages. It has just right now. Not all banks, in fact, have come on board yet, because there are requirements in terms of what you should meet to be able to come on board. But most of the banks are on board, and they provide that service at a fee, which is heavily subsidized.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is your relationship with the Federation of Kenya Employers?
That's a good one. Now, KBA is an employer organization, and so we are members of the Federation of Kenya Employers. As KBA, we have got they have forwarded me as a member of the board to represent KBA. So I've been sitting on the board of Federation of Kenya Employers as an association that is representing employers. Now, on the Federation of Kenya Employers, I was a director until about 4 years ago when I was nominated the first national vice president of Federation of Kenyan Employers. And then last year, I was elected to the national president position. So I'm currently the sitting national president of the Federation of Kenyan Employers.
I see.
Where I chair the board of Federation of Kenyan Employers.
Okay. On Saturday, there's an article that appeared in The Nation and authored by Habil Olaka. I'm going to read a couple of lines from this. He says, most of us are members of WhatsApp groups where discussions on a diverse range of topics are held. I am a member of one such group where we discuss politics, football, academics, current affairs, sometimes just jokes centering on our school days. This week, one member posted 2 headlines in a paper that seemed to indicate a contradiction. One headline said, dollar shortage hits industrialists, while the other headline read, foreign currency deposits in banks hit an all-time high. What sparked the heated discussion was a disclosure by one of us who was involved in importation that he had not been able to access adequate dollars from his bank to meet his import obligations. The 2 headlines were in apparent contradiction because the manufacturers are decrying the lack of access to forex from the banks, leading to their inability to settle their obligations to overseas suppliers in a timely manner. But at the same time, the banks are reporting all-time high levels of foreign currency deposits. Why should there be a shortage of foreign currency while banks are in a surplus position? So, confusion. And we saw the headlines ourselves, and we even discussed it and wondered, okay, so what's happening? And then we saw the statement from the Kenya Bankers Association signed by yourself saying, there's some, stress here and there, but the situation is under control. What is the situation? Are there dollars? Is there a surplus of deposits with banks for dollars? And then why are importers not able to access those dollars?
Yeah, I mean, it's, I think, a very topical subject. And I think, first of all, let's just understand the basics of what banks do.
Okay.
Banks pick deposits from customers and use those deposits to lend to customers. And they also try to ensure that you maintain the currency matching. So, and why I'm saying this is because you then can pick deposits from customers in dollars and you lend in the same currency in dollars to customers. But now, so banks by themselves don't own the dollars. It's customers who earn dollars that the same dollars they can sell to those customers who need dollars to be able to use for their respective, needs. Now, where do we get dollars from in the country? Most of it is generated by entities that are in the export business. Mainly our main exports would be agricultural produce, coffee, tea, horticulture, and also we have quite some strong revenue flows coming in from diaspora, remittances from the diaspora. That actually has been fairly strong. It has been growing very strongly even during the COVID days. It did not go down as expected. It remained fairly strong. And we're talking about $300 million a month, which is quite some significant amount. And then, of course, there are these small amounts that come in, for example, NGOs that are financed from externally. They get their funding in dollars. So those will be the revenue flows that come into the accounts in dollars. Banks will maintain that as a liability in terms of the fact that that's money owned by a customer for which the customer has got access to those dollars on demand. Now, on the other hand, you will have the actual cash. That actual cash has got to be matched with the liability so that you do not sell those dollars unless the customer is the one selling. Now, how the dollars become available to the people who are in need of the dollars, and the people who are in need of dollars are who? They are the importers, the industrialists who are manufacturing. So they need to pay for their raw materials. They need to pay for their importation. The other key drain of our dollars is actually importation of oil, fuel for our consumption. So in the market, we'll have those who are having dollars, the exporters mainly, who then sell
To the
importers. Now, if for any reason there is an excess demand over the supply, you have got a shortage of dollars in the market. So if those who are in need of dollars exceed those who are having the dollars, there is that apparent shortage. And that's apparently what happened. Around about March, April, a number of companies who are reporting their December numbers in terms of profitability, and a number of them declared dividends. And for those that have got foreign shareholders, they then have got to use the shillings generated in profits to buy dollars in the market and remit as dividends to their shareholders. So that created some huge demand in the market for dollars. But also the other aspect, which I think is also a positive development, is the fact that there is some very strong recovery post-COVID. And so a number of manufacturers, a number of industrialists whose business had gone down, they were fairly low in terms of productivity, have started picking up. And so as they pick up, their needs for the raw materials and the like have gone up. And so they'll need dollars to be able to meet those requirements. So the picture I'm painting here is a picture of there is a significant demand for dollars, which has outstripped the supply. The supply is coming from the exporters who have earned their dollars in shillings, or remittances of the Kenyans who are working out there in the diaspora, remitting back dollars into the country. So that's why there was that apparent shortage of dollars in the market, where the demand for the dollars was just outstripping the supply.
Dr. Laka, you describe a situation whereby something significant happened that catalyzed this shortage, right? So are you then also saying that it's something that would essentially level out over time? Because one of the things you talked about was business is picking up. So there's also demand for supply, or demand for supplies, material that obviously must be procured in US dollars. Now, as that supply takes place, do you see a leveling out of this issue? Are we essentially saying that there was a bump in the road, and as things balance out, it'll be sorted out? Or are we looking at a longer period of this issue?
I think the outlook clearly points to the fact that this is bound to level out. Partly because, as I've explained, that excess demand over supply was caused by, companies will not be remitting dividends with such heavy outflow every month.
Yes.
It's based on the 31st December numbers, for which, after the audit and everything, the payment of the dividends occurs over in a given season.
Yeah.
And in Kenya has been around about that time. So it was largely anticipated that the demand for dollars at that point in time would be heavy. But going forward, this is not likely to subsist. Now, the other thing is the fact that our dollar inflows have also been affected by the geopolitical environment we are operating in because of the Ukraine-Russia challenge, which has disrupted supply chains, has disrupted our markets where we do sell our exports. And therefore, and also given the fact that we do not see, or we hope that this Ukraine challenge will not be a forever kind of thing. So once it clears out and things go back to normalcy, the situation in Kenya should go back to normalcy. And then two, the pickup in terms of productivity that we mentioned post-COVID. I think once things are picked up, to levelize to a level whereby we are not building up stocks. We are not recovering from zero. We already are in the operation mode.
Right.
And so things should ideally levelize. The question is just how long it will take for that leveling to occur.
So, before there was all the speculation, is there a shortage? Is there not a shortage? This, that. So, it's clear there is a shortage. The answer is yes, there's a shortage today because of some of the factors that you've mentioned, right? So, in the interim, before we see a leveling out of this situation, What happens now? What does it look like that would be maybe a few more uncomfortable situations, whether it be for the buyers and or the sellers, demand and supply? What do you see would happen over the next few weeks in terms of an issue because of the shortage?
Yeah, if you look at the reports that come, for example, from the central bank, and central bank has got a much better view of the market in totality than I do, for example, from where I sit. Central bank's position shows that we have got a balanced market. And by balanced, I mean the forces of supply and demand are fairly balanced out. There might be some pockets of volatility, but overall it's balanced out. And what does this mean? It means that there are as many dollars coming in as it's flowing out. Now, what occasionally happens is that in a market like we do have now, where there is a perception of a shortage, the entities that do generate dollars, the exporters for this particular case, when you know that there is a shortage or you perceive that there's a shortage, the first impression you have is that this dollar is going to go up.
Time for make a kill.
Yes. So like, for example, today, what's the rate in the dollar? It's at 115. But you have got this belief that the dollar will possibly go up to
till hit 120.
120, for example. So if I'm having dollars, what do? I sit on them and hope that when it hits 120, I can then be able to sell and get those 5 shillings more than I would have gotten today. Now, on the other side, the importer, what happens?
Panic.
When you know that the rate is going to go to 120, you would rather buy today what you need all the way up to September than buy just what you need today.
Yeah.
So you have the importer rushing in to purchase whatever little dollar there is at today's price because you're fearing the rate will go up tomorrow. And the one who has got the dollars is not selling because he's waiting for the rate to hit 120 so that he can then be able to sell. And the action of these two players just create an acute shortage of dollars in the market. We don't actually have a shortage. What has happened is that the one who has them, who should be supplying the one who needs them, has held on to them. The one who needs them is taking more than he actually needs.
Just because of speculation.
Because of the speculation, you see. And the critical thing is the fact that the price of the dollar in the market is driven by two things. There's the fundamentals in terms of what is coming and what's going out. And then there is the sentiments and that's what I was trying to draw the parallel of today the dollar is at 115, but the sentiments are driving it to the fact that it will be 120. So, and that can drive the dollar rate in the market. Now, what we need to do is to be able to cool these players down to tell them, hey, guys, the dollar is not going anywhere. It's remaining there. Now, when you have got your dollars at 115 and you don't need them, because most exporters actually don't need the dollars, their expenditure is in shillings.
Yeah.
So they have got to convert the dollars into shillings to meet their normal expenditure. And they don't want to convert them at the prevailing rate because they believe it's going to go up. But if they believe that the market is not going anywhere, they'll sell them at 115. And everything goes, so the purchaser will be able to get them at the market rate, the seller is getting them at the market rate, and everything cools down.
Dr. Laka, something that I find a bit confusing though. The central bank is supposed to be the banker for banks.
Yes.
Now, I need to understand, do banks have dollar reserves? Does a central bank have dollar reserves? Why I ask the question is, if such things are things that the market can actually foretell, people like you who understand banking can tell that when such an issue arises, we are likely to see some upheaval, some movement here and there. Now, to be able to forestall this, that's where I would argue that the role of the central bank comes in. So my question again, does the central bank keep dollar reserves? Do banks keep dollar reserves? Or do they just rely on what the account holders and people who have accounts with them bring in or take out?
And that's a good question. I think there are two players you're trying to find out how they operate there. And one is the commercial banks, how they operate. And as I mentioned a little bit earlier, commercial banks rely on their customers who have got dollar deposits, and that is what tends to satisfy the needs of the importers within the bank, for example, those who need dollars and those who have got dollars. So internally, that can be satisfied. Now, central bank comes in as a regulator of the market, and there are rules that are set for the market in terms of the conduct of the players. And as I mentioned, for example, you remember I was talking about the fact that you can create a perception in the market of the fact that the dollar is going to go to a given rate. And then you can also take a position in the market. So you hold the dollars for yourself, and then you create that hype in the market that the rate is going to go to 120. When it reaches 120, you offload your dollars for a benefit. And that is extremely dangerous to the market. So a player like central bank is meant to be there to ensure that the conduct of the players does not have such kind of mischief. They bring in order and control to the market to ensure that such kind of mischief can be identified and punished almost immediately. You see? Now, and that's how the discipline is maintained in the market. Otherwise, without discipline, we'll just have a disorderly market. And that's how it operates. Now, you mentioned something about reserves. Now, central bank has reserves, you see, and in fact, the law requires them to have reserves up to a given multiple of our import needs. So they will normally have, I think it's about 4 times our monthly, import bill. So they cover up to 4 months. That's meant to create stability in the market. In the event that there is what I mentioned about the fluctuations, they can always come in and get out to smoothen the market in case they are, for example, speculators trying to create volatility in the market. They would quickly come in, either sell dollars or remove the dollars, depending on which way the dollar shilling game is playing, and then smoothen the market and get out of the market, you see. But they are not direct participants in the market per se. For them, it's an issue of trying to ensure that, there is stability in the market, because that's their mandate.
So it's
price
stabilization.
Stability. Yes.
So like now when there's an apparent shortage and panic, they'd come into the market and supply dollars.
Yes, they would come in, supply dollars, and once it has stabilized, they then pull out the dollars.
Okay.
That's a role they would play. But you see, they have got a number of tools that they can use because their objective is price stability. So if they think that the best way to stabilize the price is by bringing in dollars, then they'll use that tool.
Okay.
But they also have, several other tools they can use to achieve that price stability.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's take a break at this point, 27 minutes to 8. We have with us in the studio Dr. Habil Olaka. He is the Chief Executive Officer of the Kenya Bankers Association, the umbrella body for all the commercial banks and deposit-taking microfinance institutions in the country. We're talking about that apparent shortage. It was in the headlines the other day. Oh, there's a shortage of dollars in the market. Oh, this was the other. And he's explaining to us that it is a market situation. There's no shortage per se. It is just demand not meeting supply, or the other way around. Supply not meeting demand. Which is which? Supply not meeting demand.
It's
supply not meeting demand.
Demand is excess, yeah.
Yes. Okay. So at this point, taking this break, Dr. Olaka will like to tell you about a new phone. Samsung have just unleashed a new phone. Brand new, coming up from Korea. Those guys have been working on it and now it's out in the market. The new A series.
Indeed, tinkered with that to bring you an awesome product and saying awesome is the screen, awesome is the camera, awesome is the battery, and it'll make your picture taking experience equally as awesome. And get ready to become your own paparazzi with the new Galaxy A series range in the form of the A33, the A53 and the A73 with a 48 MP camera, a 64 MP camera and 108 MP camera respectively. Your awesome will not get interrupted either because of the battery that lasts for 2 days without charging, and also connecting and sharing awesome moments because of the spectacular camera that this new series has. You can also trade in with your old Samsung and into a new one. Just go on down and find out how you can do this. Awesome is the game with the new Samsung series.
Indeed, and because Dr. Olaka is Dr. Olaka and is the CEO of the bankers, he goes for A73.
Nani?
That's the one.
President.
Yeah, President of the
Federation of Kenya Employers. Don't joke.
A73. This one, Doc. 8 GB plus 128 ROM. It has a very good screen. It's a 6.7 inch Super AMOLED screen. It has a proper battery that's can last you 2 days. It has these cameras, ultra wide, main and back and camera, and a macro camera. It's 4 cameras, okay, and a selfie camera. This one, you go for meetings. In fact, you decide today we are doing a Zoom meeting. You just set it up and they think you're in the room. We'll tell you how you're going to trade in what you have. 25 minutes to 8. Kenya's biggest conversation takes a break. We'll be back shortly. Good morning.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation. Brought to you by Colgate.
Classic soul, R&B, smooth jazz, neo soul, and nostalgic ballads.
Make some noise. Yeah!
You're listening to Spice FM. Classic soul, R&B, smooth jazz, neo soul, and nostalgic ballads.
Make some noise. Yeah!
You're listening to Spice FM.
Extra, extra, read all about it. We have big news. The new Galaxy A series range has arrived and it's taking awesome to a whole new level. You love capturing with the Galaxy A33 5G's 48 megapixel camera, the A53 5G's 64 megapixel camera, and the A73 5G's 108 megapixel camera. The 2-day battery will keep your awesome going for longer and longer. You can now trade in your old device and upgrade for any of the 3 new arrivals, which come with Samsung Care Plus.
At 17 degrees, light rain now in Nairobi. We'll see highs of 23 and lows of 14. Mostly sunny at 15 in Nakuru. 23 will be the high and lows of 14. It's raining in Nyeri at 15, highs of 23 and lows of 14 today. It's mostly cloudy at 14 in Eldoret, highs of 23 and lows of 13. Raining in Mombasa at 26, highs of 30 and lows of 25. And we're looking at mostly cloudy conditions and rain as well in Malindi at 26 with highs of 30 and lows of 26. Mostly cloudy conditions at 19 in Kisumu, highs of 28, and we'll see highs of 27 in a mostly cloudy Kakamega as well, currently at 19. It's sunny in Kampala at 19, highs of 25. We'll see highs of 31 in Dar es Salaam. It's mostly cloudy currently at 24. And in Johannesburg, clear at 11, highs of 21 and lows of 10, while Lagos is mostly clear at 25. We'll see highs of 33 and lows of 24. And it's clear at 23 in Kinshasa, highs of 33 today, back down to lows of 23. All right, still the same situation. We're seeing just a little bit of traffic at the mouth of Jogo Road this morning, heading out towards Kamkunji, but that's it. Likely not to see more of that for the rest of today. Just taking a look around the city. The rains are coming down, and I know the streets are empty. There's also the temptation to go a little bit quicker than you normally would, but please be careful so we don't have any accident situations. All right. Let's talk in about half hour and see what happens then, but likely to be an easy day in terms of traffic around these Nairobi streets. We'll take a look outside the city in a bit. Let's talk on SpiceFM, KE on Twitter, text 40127.
.5 Spice FM, Kisumu. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right.
21 minutes to 8. Kenya's biggest conversation. It continues. Eric Latiff, CT Muga, Okoh.
Spice
Our guest
FM.
this morning is Dr. Habi Lolaka, the CEO of the Kenya Bankers Association. Andrew is asking, how much foreign currency is held by forex bureaus operating in Kenya? And does an association such as yours, KBA, have any relationship with forex bureau?
Unfortunately, we don't. Forex bureaus have got their own association, which is not related to the Kenya Bankers Association. So I wouldn't be able to tell actually exactly. And they are regulated by the central bank. And central bank would have a fairly good picture of how much foreign currency they are holding at any point in time. But they're not members of the Kenya Bankers Association.
Okay. Why did you say it's unfortunate?
Unfortunate because the question was addressed to me and I'm not able to answer.
Okay. Okay. There's the other question of availability of money in the market. Okay. And there's a story that's in the Standard this morning about as we head towards the election, the 1,000 bob note in circulation has increased in the market. Now, just explain in the most layman way possible what that means.
Well, I think from what I could glean from the story is that there's an analysis of the amount of money circulating at some point in time, and then the amount of money circulating at this point in time 1 year later, and there is an increase in terms of the amounts in circulation. One, I think, maybe we just pull back a little bit and sort of like understand the role that central bank plays in terms of the amount of money in circulation. Now, central bank's role is to ensure that there is enough liquidity in the market, enough money circulating to support the economic activity. When there is too much money chasing too few goods, what happens is there is inflation. Now, when there is too little money compared to the economic activity, is the reverse. And so central banks try to balance to ensure that there is adequate money circulating to support the economic activities. Because money is like the oil that smoothens or lubricates the moving parts of the economic engine. So it needs to be just adequate to support that. So, from that analogy, you just need to have enough. If you have got excess, there is a problem. If you have got too little, there's a problem. You just need to have enough. Now, my read of this is that the economic activities in the country, of course, over time, as the economic growth picks up, also the amount of money required to be circulating to support those activities also goes up. And central bank then releases just enough liquidity to be able to support that. So that increase, I don't see it as alarming. It's just, in my view, enough to support the economic activities. So as the economic activities pick up, because you are having economic growth rates of 8%, whatever figure it is, I think 5.6 or whatever it is, we should have enough money in circulation supporting those economic activities. And that's why there's a growth in terms of the money circulating. So this idea of trying to time it with elections,
it's nothing to do with elections.
I think it's just a coincidence that we are at this point in time when you're measuring the quantity of money in circulation, and elections happens to be 3 months away.
Is election not an economic activity in this country?
Yes, it also does in a way affect the amount of money in circulation, but I was looking at it from the economic activities rather than just purely for the election.
It's not a 92 case
transactions.
Of the Jirongo notes and
actually, it is infinitely more than that, because the electoral position in this country increased. It isn't what it was before. Then we devolved our system, so money was also devolved. So even the lowest units of electoral positions, there is money circulating. So if you talk about money being in circulation, the vortex that is created is greater than what we've had perhaps in the past. And given that it's an end of an era and a beginning of a new one, somehow the tempo and the pace at which the economic activities, just look at the number of people who want to be president. Take any political position and look at the number of people who are vying for those. It represents direct cash injection into that particular political space, because our elections are about money. So what we are seeing, in my mind,
so there's a demand for money in the market.
There is a huge huge demand. When you are told about the figures of what is required to try and secure those positions, it boggles the mind. It's actually mind-boggling. And that money actually goes out. So what Dr. Olaka is saying is actually true. But in addition to the truth that he has mentioned, there's this economic activity called politicking in this country. Vast, huge amounts of monies. Huge, literally mind-boggling, huge. Gets spent and it goes into the system. Now, it may spur economic growth in the sense that people who ordinarily don't have money will now have money.
But actually, part of it is actually real economic activity. Look at it this way. They are printing T-shirts.
Yeah.
These T-shirts are actually manufactured. The printing is work done, and therefore that's an economic activity. You are, posters, all the
transport,
advertising,
branding of
transport, the fuel that is being, all that increases economic activity.
It's actual economic activity.
Yes.
Does it then contribute to growth of the economy? Because this could be a flash in the pan. It could be a flash in the pan economic activity for a time period, but in terms of longevity and sustenance, it doesn't have sustainability. It doesn't happen. Because come the election is done, right? Anybody who made a little bit of money from printing T-shirts, they may then be able to plow it back into business, sure, but then that activity has ended, and then you move on to something else.
Yeah.
Does it then rack up points towards economic growth?
Actually, in fact, the point you're bringing up is very relevant because we are talking about productivity. Is it being injected into the productive sectors, or is it just expenditure? And most of it is just expenditure. So there is no productivity coming out of it. There is no sustainability being assured out of the activities that are being funded. They are targeted at the elections, and it's an expenditure for the elections. You give me my 200 shillings at the end of the day, I go and buy myself a drink or whatever it is, and that's the end of it. It's not productive. You see,
I actually argue differently because what you're saying would make absolute sense if there was just one or two candidates, but there are many. So I'll get 200 from you, I'll get 200 from you, I'll get 200 from you, and it keeps repeating itself.
But how is that productive?
It's productive because I have money to expend. Now, so long as I have money to expend, irrespective of where I'm expending, whether I'm drinking, as Dr. Olaka said, it's an economic activity.
Yeah, but once the elections are over, that's done.
Actually, no.
That manner of spending is finished.
No. Money doesn't quite work that way. If you have spent money in some activity, I have a bar and you all come to drink at my bar. What you've done over time is giving me a sense of stability. My business will have grown. You may not think so, but it will have. So even when there is no election, I have a far more stable business than I had before the elections. The elections has enabled me to acquire stability that I didn't have before. That's what I'm saying. If I owned a small eatery and the local politician has said everybody can go and drink tea there, because of the volume, the numbers of people who keep coming there, my business will have grown to a level it would never have gotten into if there had been no election. So yes.
Can it be sustained after the election?
No. At that level, no. But my business will be a different kind of business.
Sure, but then now my initial question was, can these be racked up in terms of points towards national economic growth, where we're talking about a national issue right now, when we're talking of the influx of money, and we're saying that we can see this because there's some kind of economic growth, whereas the catalyst of this is this election that we're talking about.
Yes.
Remove that factor, then we will not see this growth, which is why I'm asking, are we talking about expenditure or are we talking about actual economic growth that we can now peg other factors like inflation and indexes here and there? Can we do that based on this, Dr. Olaka?
Actually, what I was going to add on that is the fact that normally during the election period, we see a lot of expenditure towards consumption. So the point I was trying to put across is the fact that the example you're giving about the owner of the bar, I was looking at the person who has come to buy the drink at the bar. That person is actually just consuming.
Yes, they are.
And not investing for the future, for future revenue. And that's how the economic growth is achieved, by investing for the future, where there's a future stream of revenue inflows that come in from whatever investment you have done, and that's how the economic growth is effectively achieved. Now you find that, for example, during the period of the elections, look at, and it happens every 5 years. Most of the industrialists, most of the investors actually do sit back and have almost like a wait and see kind of approach. So they are not investing. They're not investing in fixed capital that generates the revenues for economic activity. So they sort of like hold back until after the elections, when the picture is clear in terms of the political direction that the country is taking, before they start, investing. And that normally has quite a delay, quite a lag in terms of our economic activities.
So what you're saying is, if I to understand you, is that people who would otherwise want to invest, whether they are external investors or internal, are playing a wait and see game and are not willing to put money into the country until and after the elections.
Absolutely. In fact, it's not just the foreign investors, even some of the domestic or some of the local investors, because they are not quite sure about what kind of political environment it will be after the elections. A number of them do actually have a wait and see approach. And our gospel has always been to them the fact that let's separate politics from business. Let's separate politics from investment decisions. Politics will always be there, but the investment decisions you are talking about, investing for the future, for the next 5, next 10, the next 15 years, and therefore that decision should not be held back because of the politics of the day.
Because of an event.
Yes. And because of the fact that they are worried about, for example, what we had in terms of post-election skirmishes. What we need to assure them is the fact that that will not recur. So as long as they have got that confidence of the fact that there's unlikely to be political developments that will threaten their business, they would gladly invest almost like aloof to what's happening on the political side.
Dr. Laka, does data support that view? Because what you're saying makes sense to me. But I'm asking the question, if the actual data regarding maybe, you may not be in a position to know the central bank and other people who may be, but I'll tell you why I asked this question. When I talk to people who are in the business sector, chambers of commerce in this country and embassies and the sectors within the embassy that deal with business, literally every embassy, foreign embassy we have in this country, record an increasing number of countries that are nestled in their country doing business in Kenya. Since 2017, the numbers keep increasing. Now, I'm asking this because the understanding was, as we approach an election, people are, exactly as you say, they are afraid, they are cautious, they don't know what will happen. But if I look at the activities up until even the end of last year, the numbers are not going down. The number of investors who actually literally want to come in to do business, it's like they've looked and said, the elections cause a bit of a problem here and there. But I doubt very much if my investment is actually going to be interfered with to the degree that maybe it's the locals who are afraid, because the way we understand our politics, people don't want to take the risk of something going wrong, because we've seen things going wrong when you didn't think anything was going wrong. Now, I'm simply going by anecdotally what I have been told. So that's why I'm asking, might you be privy to either the data that supports this view?
Actually, you are absolutely right. And it has not come by accident. Yes. There have been a number of entities that have put in a lot of energy, a lot of effort to ensure that, for example, the kind of picture we had in the post-2007, 2008 will not be repeated. And they have gone out of their way and created. Look at KEPSA, for example. KEPSA have got an initiative called Mkenya Daima. Kenya Daima is an initiative that tries to create awareness of the fact that we need to have a peaceful election. And they go preaching that, trying to get, for example, the political parties, the political players, committing to the fact that they will conduct themselves in a peaceful way. Now, those kind of initiatives are the ones that have been able to ensure that the election cycles from 2007, after that, they have been fairly peaceful, because a lot of effort has been put in to ensure that we do not have a repeat of the same. And the more we have tons of peaceful elections, the more even the foreign and even the domestic investors now realize that actually we can have a peaceful election and it should not affect my investment. The reason why you feel a bit reluctant to invest is because if you, for example, suffered a loss in 2007, you had invested heavily in a particular area, and your investment was brought down to zero, and then you had to rebuild afresh, you will not likely be very willing to invest. You'll try to pull back and ensure that where would I be safe to invest, or do I just hold on until the elections are over and I see the safe spots before I can be able to put my money in. But after the 2007, now the next ones were the 2013 elections, the 2017 elections, and there were no similar kind of incidences. That's just creating confidence in the people. And so as the election cycle comes, you go around with your investment decisions as if the politics don't play a role in this.
They're not affecting.
You're more confident.
Are you getting a feeling that this particular election, for instance, is not getting those kind of investor jitters? Maybe also aided by the fact that we are just coming from the recovery of COVID and the impact of COVID on business. So there's that resilience of, okay, I survived COVID, and I'm looking at the political situation and I'm not getting the feeling that there is likely to be skirmishes post-election. So let me just continue investing. Are you getting that feeling this particular election cycle?
Certainly there is some very positive post-COVID recovery that is being felt all over, and especially a number of businesses that for some reason had to close down completely, and new businesses came out of the development. Like, for example, a number of them now have heavily leveraged on technology. The digital explosion that has hit the country after the COVID experience has been significant. And even in the banking sector, we can feel it. Initially, it was more or less like an inconvenience. You feel like we are moving in a direction that we have not quite prepared ourselves to. But there we were, we went for it. And now we are beginning to see reaping the benefits. We talked about profitability in the banking, and one of the factors that actually contribute to the profitability is that digitization.
Right.
Which was a major contributor. And it's not just banking. I think a number of entities have found that it's now easier to reach the customer through the digital channels than the original where you had to go to physically in the customer. And your costs have significantly come down, which shows down in your bottom line. So I think even as the elections approach, it's important for us to know that there's a very strong recovery, and elections may not be quite the influencing factor in terms of the decisions you are making. It is more or less coming out of the post-election, the COVID challenge, and trying to recover from that COVID challenge that will drive our way forward.
I see. We want to thank you very much, Dr. Laka, for joining us this morning. Thank you for coming to speak to us about the situation in the banking sector with the foreign exchange availability in the country, and for, in fact, even just assuring people that, well, we don't necessarily have a shortage, we just have a bump here. Dr. Habilu Laka is the CEO of the Kenya Bankers Association, also the president of the Federation of Kenya Employers. Very many things that you've shared with us, and we'll invite you again, right? Come and join us. Let's tell you now the other thing. We are getting you that Samsung, the new A73. Good one. 4 cameras at the front, one very strong camera, that's a selfie camera and all. Colgate have been doing something for the last 9 years, for the last 4 years in some 9 counties. They've been sinking wells. And these wells are being sunk in schools. And they're saying, if we sink wells in schools, then the water is benefiting the school community plus the entire village and the neighborhood. And they're saying we want to do 30 more by the end of this year. So they're asking everybody, when you go next to shop for your Colgate, go to Naivas. When you buy Colgate, 10 bob out of that will go towards this particular initiative, 30 water wells by the end of this calendar year.
Indeed, 120,000 more Kenyans then will be able to access clean water for home use, drinking in schools, in homes, and in the communities as well. So exclusively at Naivas, you pick up your packet of toothpaste, Colgate toothpaste, 10 shillings towards that, making the resource more available to everybody around the country.
Yep. And they've already seen that people are doing this, and they're heeding the call, and they're saying thank you very much to everybody who's going to buy Colgate at Naivas. Everybody else, please just go buy Colgate. 10 bob will help very many people. 120,000 families being impacted. Dr. Olaka, asante. Come again soon.
Actually, it's interesting because this morning I found Colgate in my in the house, and I didn't know where it came from. I just need to go and find out. Must be from Naivas.
Must be from There you go.
Asante Fana. Keep it here for more conversations. A very good morning to you, 8 a.m.
Thank you.
Spice up your life. The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning. This is Newswire. I am Stephanie Wangari. The Independent Electoral Land Boundaries Commission has suspended registration of voters until March 13, 2023. Those will be affected by the move are Kenyans who want their polling stations changed and those living in the diaspora. Through a Gazette notice, IEBC Chairperson Wafula Chebukati said the move will allow the Commission to enable availability of register of voters to the public for purposes of verification of biometric data and particulars of registered voters. Chebukati also said that the new register of voters has been completed and is available for verification, an exercise that will start on May 4th for a period of 30 days. Now, Kenya and U.S. trade and investment experts are set to resume talks on a potential trade deal the two partner countries this month. The representatives are set to have an in-person meeting scheduled between Tuesday and Friday this week. Trade and Enterprise Development Principal Secretary Johnson Waweru will lead the Kenya delegation in the 4-day closed-door meetings. On the other hand, Assistant United States Trade Representative for Africa Affairs Constance Hamilton is expected to lead the U.S. delegations. The fresh round of meetings is expected to firm up discussions over a potential free trade agreement between the pair of countries. On matters politics, Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance presidential contender Raila Odinga has defended their zoning strategy, saying it will avert splitting and self-cannibalism in allied parties. Odinga, who is on a 3-day tour of Mount Kenya region to meet Azimio-affiliated candidates, said zoning will help candidates of popular parties win. He said in areas where there is no popular candidate, all sister parties would be allowed to field the candidate since their opponent will not be assured of a win. Odinga was attending a meeting in Nanyuki where he was meeting 300 candidates from KANU, Jubilee, NAK Kenya and NAK. Politicians allied to Deputy President William Ruto have urged Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka to quit Azimio la Umoja One Kenya, claiming that he is not appreciated in the outfit. The DP's allies alleged Kalonzo faced humiliation during the burial of former President Mwai Kibaki when he was denied the opportunity to address the mourners. The leaders were attending the burial of the late Janet Modhoki, a daughter to UDA chairman Johnston Muthama.
So, mi nataka tujikaze in 2-3 weeks. Tuunganishe Muthama na Kalonzo na Ruto na nani. Tukutane tena pamoja. Alafu kwa heshima ya Mwenyezi Mungu, mupatie huyu mzee wetu akuwe governor ya area hii. Ndio anyoroshe dunia hii iende mbele. Ni mzee wa busara, anaelewa biashara, anaelewa maisha ya mtu wa kawaida, ni mtu amejaliwa na Mwenyezi Mungu lakini ni mnyenyekevu.
The government has banned the importation of second-hand buses and trucks into the country beginning July 1st this year. The Kenya Bureau of Standards, KEBS, said it will not allow the importation of passenger minibuses, midi-buses, large buses, single-articulated and bi-articulated business and double-decker buses. KEBS, however, gave second-hand tractor heads and prime movers not older than 3 years a grace period of up to June 30th next year, after which they will be banned and only new units can be imported into the country. Now, journalists from across the world are observing the World Freedom Day today, the day celebrated to emphasize the importance of a free press. As per the official website of the United Nations, MITHAD acts as a reminder to governments of the need to respect their commitment to press freedom. It is also a day of reflection among media professionals about issues of press freedom and professional ethics. That's your news at the top of the hour. I am Stephanie Wangari.
At a few minutes after 8 o'clock, what are we looking at? Not much in terms of traffic on most of Nairobi streets today. And also, just like I said, in other parts of the country, Mombasa City out into, also looking on the other side, out into Naivasha, Nakuru through west. Not much traffic at all. Still a sleepy day in terms of traffic. It will pick up tomorrow. We will see heightened traffic later on in the day as folks then report to schools taking kids back to school. Probably see some of that in the afternoon. But we're already seeing action on Landis Road today around the Machakos bus station. We'll likely see more through the afternoon. But we'll keep an eye on things. Let us know what's happening where you are. Let's talk on SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Text 40120.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
It is 6 minutes after 8. It's a third day of March. It is 2022.
Okay.
Kenya's biggest conversation enters its third hour. And thank you very much for tuning in and joining us today. People are still on holiday. It's okay. Mutarudi tu.
Na mtatupata hapa hapa.
Mtatupata hapa hapa. Tunafanya vivi hivi.
Vivo hivyo.
Good. Yes. Trajectory sawa sawa.
Yes. Iyo.
And as they used to say, bam bam.
Yes.
You're not going to let go of that one today, are you?
Nope. Today. Nope.
No way.
Last day of half term. No way.
City has the day's proverb.
I do actually.
Yes.
Yes. Second last day in the Central African Republic.
Okay.
A big river is enlarged by its tributaries.
A big river is enlarged by its tributaries.
Yeah, tributaries.
Those two small to streams that
yes,
join
the big river into a river.
Yes.
Some of them
they
seasonal.
bring water to the river.
Some of them are seasonal. Like a Mtoa Mawe that feeds into the river.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So there's that little detail.
What are the things that take water out of a bigger water body? They're called? Tributaries bring water in. What takes water out?
Human beings.
Like what's there at Ginger River, Nile, takes water out of Lake Victoria.
There's a name for it, like tributary.
Okay. Then also there's the Great Renaissance Dam in Ethiopia.
Okay, thanks.
Takes water out.
Okay, yes. Who built it? Man. Yes.
Human being. Good Lord. Okay, science, natural science lesson chucked out the window. Thank you, CT.
Oh no. It's community science.
It's true. It's good. Estuary. You know what an estuary is?
Yes, I do. See, this is that community where birds exist.
That's a sanctuary.
Estuary. That's an estuary.
Estuary is where
birds.
A lake.
Where birds exist.
Yes.
Okay, sour.
Yeah, sanctuary is where either you go to hide or church.
And what do you call the place where you find bees?
Bees? If it's not a hive.
Where you've placed several hives. What do you call it?
What one? See, it's called supermarket.
Ni sawa tu. Tuendelee, it's half time. Hey, page 21 of the Standard this morning. Parties face bruising contest after 7,200 independents get clearance. as the deadline for the independent candidates to be cleared by the Register of Political Parties ended last night. We had many people, 47 independent candidates who are seeking the presidency, and we have very many others who are seeking various other positions in the country. This brings the issue of how is the ballot going to look like? In 2017, for some seats, especially for MCA seats, it used to be like a booklet. Now we have over 7,200 people who have been cleared by the Register of Political Parties. Basically, they have been cleared to be not members of any political party. That is the clearance here. They have not yet been cleared by the IEBC. Next step is to go to the IEBC and get the clearance by IEBC. And remember, clearance by IEBC is, are you a criminal? Are you in jail? Are you in jail? All those things. Does the DCI think that you're a crook? Has KRA said that you have you're a compliant taxpayer?
University loan.
Do you have a university loan
Did
from
you
HELB?
go to university?
Yeah, all those things, right? Those ones now will come in when they go to Mr. Fuller Chebukati and his team. We'll be told, kuja. Umejilete. Ni sawa, kwenda nyumbani.
Wow.
You don't belong anywhere in leadership. That's the next step. But the Register of Political Parties has basically cleared the 7,200 independents, said, yes, you do not belong to any political party. Now you can vie as an independent candidate. You're not affiliated to any political party. We now look at your symbols and all those other things. This is a huge number. When you talk about 47 independents, if all of them are cleared by the IEBC, then you add, those are independents. Let's now look at the ones who are in political parties. And we said, Raila Odinga, William Ruto, Jimmy Wanjege, our friend Ruben Kigame, who else? Mwangi wa Iria,
Muturi Justin.
Bidan Muturi. Who else?
Pigeon.
Pigeon is independent.
Oh, you're talking about
the ones now with parties, yes. Independents, we have our friend Pigeon Odimwengu.
Yes, there's a gentleman by the name of Mongare.
Walter Mongare.
Walter Mongare.
Yes.
He's with the party, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And others.
And many others.
Yes.
If all those then get onto a ballot, you'll be entering there and wondering, okay, so it's a booklet.
I've come to do an exam.
By the way,
page 13.
you know, Eric, it becomes that when you've woken up feeling a bit academic and you want to read. Most voters, if they're like me, you know who you're going to vote for. I don't go to the ballot
box. But that's
box.
the point. You'll be looking for your candidate.
Looking is fine.
You don't know whether your candidate is on page 17 or page 5.
It is okay. I look for my candidate. Now, my candidate needs to be clever enough to simplify this thing for me and tell me that my symbol is a cigarette. So that, yes.
You just go looking for cigarette.
Yeah, or my cigarette is a matchbox. So you look for it. Now, unfortunately, if there's somebody else who's vying and the symbol is a toy car, it may look like a matchbox. So be careful.
Yeah. So the difficulty factor has been upped.
Yes.
Because of the fact that you have numerous numbers of candidates. And I think that's where we are now.
And I'm agreeing, but I'm simply saying that my choice will not be deterred. The process may give me more education than I need. I may learn of names I did not want to learn. But at least I now have a talking point for the following week. Did you know there's a candidate by the name of that sort of thing?
I think it's not a good thing because remember you have been queuing, especially in the early hours of the morning. People queue for long. Okay? So you've been on this queue for 2 hours and you're feeling the pressure of the people who are behind you in the queue. You've been given these 6 ballots. Each of them is a booklet. The MCA one is 54 pages. The Member of Parliament is 29 pages. The President is 47 pages.
It's good.
All those. So you've entered that caboose.
Yes.
Now you first of all look for booklet number 1. This is presidential. Tick. Put it aside. Next one, next booklet is governor. You know, you start feeling the pressure. Am I taking too long in here? Am I remember when I was out there, I was complaining that these people are taking too long. Am I doing the same thing? It may lead to problems. It may lead to, just people feeling that much pressure and making mistakes.
People make mistakes anyway.
You tick page 1, you read, That was the wrong guy.
So you call the
My
prefect
guy
and
is
tell
here.
him, prefect, I've made
Give
a
me
mistake.
another booklet.
Give me another
Now
booklet.
imagine now, you have time. You're just feeling that pressure.
But on the day we go to vote, there's nothing else we're doing that whole day.
Everybody else is behind you.
They also have the whole day like me.
You're the one who's thinking that. But somebody else is thinking, I need to go and open my kiosk. I need to go and open my shop. I need to go and open my
CT,
business.
do I hear you inadvertently saying here that this is a good thing for choice? This is a good thing for democracy? Because what it does is that it allows so many more people to participate
You have heard
in
me
this
very
process.
correctly. In fact, not only have you heard me, you have understood me. Yes. You want democracy. Here it is.
Choose.
Choose. And we are not limiting you to 3. We are limiting you to around 60. Just for presidential. Just
Only,
just around 60. As for governor, look, we are actually going to go to town on this one. They're going to give you something like around 300. Now, so take your time. If you had problems with mathematics in primary school, this is the time where you rectify it. 1, 2, 3, 4. With the fingers are finished. You're wearing shoes, so you can't go to the toes. So what else do? You remember you have a phone. Yes, so you remove it. What I'm saying is, you want democracy. You want participation that represents the people's wishes. Now, people here refers to those who wish to present themselves to the electorate, and therefore, by so doing, give the electorate the opportunity to choose. Now, you, the electorate, this is what happens when people are given the opportunity. So please enjoy the moment. If you woke up at 2 during the last election, wake up at midnight. Okay?
When you were having this conversation earlier, you introduced a whole new confusion to it.
That is precisely what I did.
Let me talk about the confusion for those who are not listening to us. So CT is telling us, guys, there's something interesting that happens in Papua New Guinea.
And Australia.
They have...
just to mention 2 countries.
Just 2. They have what they call the limited
others.
preferential voting or instant runoff voting.
Yes.
Not a first past the... It's called a first past the what vote?
Post.
Yeah? So this one, you have multiple choices.
Yes. You understand.
You go to an election. Out of these 650 people who want to be president, you choose your preferred choice. Now it's like now you're going back to Form 4. Choose your
best 3.
Your best 3. You want to go take this course in Nairobi University, or take this course in Moi University, or take this course in JKUAT. You're in the booth. Ebu explain now slowly. What do they do in Papua New Guinea?
What they do is very simply this. They also had a system like ours, where 50 plus 1 through. Okay? Man, we think we have tensions here. In that part of the world, people have a very clear way of settling tensions.
Yes.
Usually they will know who didn't vote for them and who voted.
They light a fire.
They chop you up. I mean, literally. Yeah, they settle their things with machetes, usually. One community, these are the guys who didn't vote for us, the ones who ensured our son didn't get through. So now, their parliament sat and thought about it and talked to experts and asked consultants to come in. And they said, folks, one of the ways in which you reduce this sort of pressure is don't limit the choice to 1. It's called preference. Don't limit the preference to just you're voting for 1 person. Let them decide. And by the way, it's only for national elections. National. So you say, the person I would most prefer, you give number 1. Now, if that person doesn't get it, the person I can put up with is number 2. The person now I really wouldn't want to, but given the circumstance, the other people who are present, I think I have to give him, so it becomes 3. Now, as I say it, I will mention the disadvantages, because there are many.
Okay.
But one of the things that...
So what happens?
What happens
First, take us through. So I have picked my most preferred presidential candidate is so-and-so.
Yes.
My second choice is so-and-so.
Yes.
And my third choice is so-and-so.
So you have a situation where I have had 3 choices, actually.
Yes.
So it isn't 1. So I'm not banking on 1. And I also understand that one of the 3 may become.
Okay.
Now, this is what happens. Vote, election,
6 p.m.
county.
Fonga.
Yes. Okay. 3 piece. Okay. Now, what do? You take all the number 1 votes. Okay. At every polling center, you put them in one pile. Okay. Number 2, number 3, then you count. As it turns out, in most cases, there'll be no clear winner. Because if the number 1 choice actually gets the 50 plus 1, then they're number 1.
Quisha.
Yes, but they rarely do.
Okay.
So you then go to the second option. You then look, so who wanted this person as a second choice? Okay? Pile aside. You go through the pile. It's a tedious process. You look for the number 2s. Usually at number 2, you will have a very clear idea of who is winning. Now, by the way, when you do the first choice, there are people who will not have featured. They are that number.
Yeah.
Those ones, you put them aside.
So those who have not featured in number 1
or number
we
2,
don't even consider number 2.
Yes. No. You consider number 2 because they may be there. But if in number 1, they don't feature at all. At all. Okay? No one chooses them as number 1, somewhere along the line. Out. Then you go to number 2.
Okay.
Again,
so it's like a runoff now.
Yes. Yeah, this is now a runoff.
All the best number 1s. Now we look at who among the people selected you as number
2 also. Because it means you had people who actually thought at number 2. Okay. Now, again, when you look at number 2s, if you don't feature in the number 2, out. Are we?
And if there's no clear winner at number 1, number 2 stage.
No, you're taken out anyway, so that you don't confuse the equation. The people have spoken. Okay? Now, usually at number 2, you'll have a fairly clear idea who has won. Now, you asked me to explain why this system intrigued me. It intrigued me because I was thinking of the campaigning process. Let's say, for instance, I come from Katanga. Okay? Now, there are several...
it's hard for her to visualize. You come from Tamu in Muhoroni. Let's just work with that.
See, I want to do a town which is near Nairobi. Okay, I come from Tamu.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Tamu, that ward is actually not called Tamu. It's called Chemele something ward. Okay?
Okay.
Now, when I want to vie for the position of MP, all right? That Moroni constituency starts near Kisumu. Kibos coming this way, Miwani, all that. Then it ends in a place, Fortana, they actually share it with the Kericho County. Okay? And on the other side, past a place called Songo, they share it with the Nandi County.
Okay.
All right? So now, if there are other people vying for that position in those various wards, when I go to campaign, when I campaign in my own ward,
in your strongholds,
I tell them to vote for me. There's no question
one.
about it. Yes, me personally. When I go to the other ward, I tell them, folks, I know your son so-and-so is vying for this position. Please give him the votes. What I'm asking is for you to give me your number 2 vote. That's all I'm asking. People feel, see our son, he's endorsed our son. Give him number 2. And that's what I'll do in all these other places. Ndu is already yawning. This is a tedious process. But it also changes the temper, the tenure, and the tone and the color of the competition. So I can't go around bad-mouthing this opponent of mine in areas of his stronghold because I will not get any vote whatsoever.
Right.
So I am looking for that number 2 vote.
Right.
There are areas where I know this one is a brother of mine who married here and he didn't treat his wife very well. So let me not even ask for number 2. Let me just for number 3 vote.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. I can even see the reasoning behind it.
Yeah,
but then on to what end? Because you're saying essentially there will still be a winner, right?
It's a spread democracy.
Yes, there always is a winner.
So there is a collective input, is what we're saying. There is collective input into the person who will essentially be leader.
Yes,
that when this person now eventually is voted in, it will be as a result of the fact that more people were involved in the decision across board.
Clever.
Anaona mbele.
Good.
Kenya, we have a similar thing. It's only that it's a bit different. It is English.
Okay.
Look, the fact that in this country we say, for example, for president, you will have 25% in half of the counties, right? And then you'll have 50% of the vote plus 1. It has balanced it out. The 50% of vote plus 1, if just left alone, could have brought in those issues.
Right.
Or if you just look at the places where we have many voters, let those ones elect the president. So bring in areas, we know, the counties that have, or the regions, or the tribes that have very many voters. Get those ones, get the president. But the 25% in half of the counties, that adds in the other aspect. It says you must have some sort of acceptance countrywide. which is exactly this thing that I think the PNG voters were looking for. You need to have a wide mandate. So if you did not win number one, which we are seeing is you're likely not going to win number one outright, then you have very many other people who also thought of you as a choice. You are among the people who got very many number one votes. And then you are the person who got very many number one and number two votes. That shows that there is wide acceptance across the country.
Yes.
The only problem is I am going to that ballot. My number
one is this one, then number two.
Are you seeing the problem that our children are having in school now, selecting which high school to go to?
No, I don't.
Select 3 national schools. Select 2 extra county schools. Select 4 county schools. Select. My God.
Yes. I don't see it as a problem. I see it as introducing our children to problem solving at an early age.
Spoiled votes will be more than the completed votes, you know.
Let me tell you something. The thing that I liked about this system was the social aspect of it. The tedium and everything that goes along with it can be quite daunting, especially if you have a population such as ours.
Sure. And both of these countries are dealing with, the examples that you gave are dealing with numbers in population which are significantly less.
Much, much less than ours.
Yes.
Okay? But Australia is vast. The point is, the idea of letting everyone feel that the eventual winner is someone that participated in getting in. That, to me, given our situation, helps cool temperatures in a way that nothing else can. So it isn't, oh, we're not who voted. Even the number 2 feels, yes, our number 2 got it. Now, it may appear like it's something that is tedious, yes, but the question is the opportunity cost. What is it that we are paying this price of tedium for? You see, the discussion we're having prior to my inserting this discussion, this bit of the discussion, where the different things are the same, okay, is this. We are going to have an election where people are going to spend more time going through the electoral material than actual voting.
Right.
And the reason why it's an issue is because we were accustomed to a swift process. You're given 1 sheet of paper, 2, 3, was it 4? You know. And usually, if your party had drummed you and indoctrinated you adequately, you knew it was 6 piece.
Yeah.
So you just look.
You just look for the symbol of
the
party.
The symbol and
yes, and you pray that yours may be orange, someone doesn't have lemon, which looks like an orange. Okay? So it was simple. Because, for instance, when you're told to vote for MCA, I have no clue who that person is. MP, I have an idea. Governor, I definitely have an idea. But that process is now being complicated with this opening up of our political space where people feel they want to give this thing a shot.
Right.
And that is their right to do so. An IBC saying, so long as they meet the required threshold, yes. The chief of the register of political parties goes through her processes and says, it is okay.
They've met the threshold.
Yes.
Give them a shot.
Yes. The DC has decided that what you stole when you're a child is not going to be considered. So you get certificate of good conduct. All right? Whoever else needs to give you clearance. KRA says, yeah, this guy pays taxes from time to time. He's better than other people. Give him the clearance. It's all right. The point is, this is what democracy looks like. Now, this experiment will be fine-tuned to the time, believe me. What we are going to go through in this election is going to let people say, hey, hold.
Villagers will be holding back. Where? Atumeenda wapi? Kapa.
One vote. What do you mean?
Do you want to buy?
I want to buy. No.
You're not,
what do you mean?
Vote for no.
So there will be an extra layer of vetting.
Yes.
At community level.
Yes.
After this experience, my friend, the people you just told point blank, and we are not voting for you, so just don't bother. The experience, what you thought would be an hour, 2 hour, half a day.
So we should actually go into 2 days of voting. If
we
don't
will.
joke.
Oh, yes,
we will.
Oh, yes, even 3. This one.
It probably will, because, we're talking about, just like we said, if these 47 as independents find their way
just presidential
to the ballot, and those are just presidential aspirants, right? We've not talked about those who come with party, right? There are 7,200 independents who are seeking clearance right now.
7200.
This is across board, presidential to MCA. So across board, folks are looking for that, and those are just the independents. We're not talking about. Remember, we had UDA, which had given some 1,742. We had ODM, which had given a similar number. Jubilee, all those parties. So you're looking at easily over 10,000, much more.
10.
So
please.
let's just say,
take it to move towards 100.
When you go to your polling center, you'll be given the presidential ballot. It'll have at least 50 candidates.
Yes,
okay?
at least
50.
That is, and then you'll also be given the member of the National Assembly. Okay, all the political parties that we have, plus all the independents. Again, another 50, let's say.
Oh, many more.
Senators, let's just work with 50. Another 50. Governors, another 50. Member of the National Assembly, let's double it.
One person will
and you're in that booth.
And we'll go and read all those and look for and take. How long do you think that individual
You know
is going
your
to stay
candidate,
there?
but you're looking for them on this one.
Or you're looking for the party symbol.
Hey, God have mercy. It's going to be chaotic. There's no way that this is going to be done in a day. It is not going to happen. Let's just prepare for it now.
You know, it doesn't have to be done in a day.
It doesn't have to be either.
See, this is also the thing here. It doesn't have to be even done in 2 days. The thing is, yes, we want.
In 1997, the election went into a second day.
It did.
One of the things that Mwai Kibaki and Charity Ngilu and Raila Odinga and Kijana Wamalwa complained about is that this second day is where mischief happened.
How do you want people to read that paper and do it and finish in just a day? It's not going to happen. We've already talked about the fact that we're looking at about candidates in the thousands.
No, Eric is right, but you see, that was now our foray into multi-party democracy.
Is it not one of the things that you have to pay for this democratic space in which we say we want to enter?
This is actually it.
This is one of the things you
the
pay
price
for
of democracy.
Yes, now.
Oh,
price.
yes.
This is the price for democracy. It's one of the prices that you will pay. You want many people to be able to exercise their rights democratically.
Yes.
Then you're going to have to spend more time in the exercise.
Yes, and it's
More
not
people in
what
the
you
pot.
think. It's the person who wants to vie and what they think. If they think that there are enough people who think that they are good for the position they think they want, by all means, let them think and let them vie. By all means.
Let them come.
Let's take
It's
a break.
their democratic right.
Let's take a break. We need a breather. It's 28 minutes to 9. We are live on KTN Home, on SpiceFM, on YouTube and on Facebook. This brand new phone from Samsung, they've worked hard at it, and they have the new A series, the A73, the A53, and the A33. Let me just tell you about the A73. It's basically a camera disguised as a phone, okay? The back camera has 4 lenses. The ultra-wide lens, 12 megapixels. The main lens, 108 megapixels. The bokeh lens, 5 megapixels. The macro lens, 5 megapixel. And then the selfie lens is 32 megapixel. This is a serious piece of thing. Plus, the battery is 5,000 milliamp hours, which is a good thing. And it comes in 3 colors: the awesome gray, the awesome mint, and the awesome white. How can you can also trade in?
Yes, you can. You can have a chat with them and go down to the Samsung Care Center, have a chat with them, and they will be able to say, let's trade in. Maybe you need to top up here and there, but you can actually put in your old Samsung phone and get a new one from this series and experience awesome at very many different levels.
Our phones are coming, and City will get the 73, and you can take the 53. I'll take the 33.
Yes,
we will compare. We'll compare, and we'll be posting our photos. Time for a break. We'll be back shortly.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation. Brought to you by Colgate.
There's so many people peddling what is false, and that it bears remarkable resemblance to what is true.
Politicians have their agenda, and their agenda is to use every opportunity to sell that agenda and to loot this nation.
I have seen major strides that are done
in this country when we talk to each other as against talking at each other.
We start getting back into the tribal cocoons which were put to us by the colonial powers. You know, they gave us physical freedom but not mental freedom. We're still mentally colonized today into these cocoons of tribe.
Now, if you live in an area where it's difficult to find a dog,
He's a goat. I kid you not.
In which part of this country is it difficult to find a dog? So that you resort. Nafandi umbo yako iko na
Nini umba special.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
All right, the sprinkle continues in parts of Nairobi this morning, and then mostly cloudy conditions through the day. We'll see highs of 23 and lows of 14. At 18, it's sunny in Nakuru, highs of 24 and lows of 15. Light rain in Nyeri at 17, highs of 23 and lows of 14. At 16, it's sunny in Eldoret, highs of 23 and lows of 13. It's raining in Mombasa at 26, highs of 30 and lows of 25. Also experiencing light rain in Malindi at 28, highs of 30 and lows of 26. Kisumu is cloudy at 20, highs of 28 and lows of 19, while Kakamega is cloudy at 21, highs of 27 and lows of 16. 21 degrees and partly sunny in Kampala, highs of 25 and lows of 19, while it's mostly cloudy at 25 in Dar es Salaam, highs of 31 and lows of 24. It's sunny in Joburg at 12, highs of 21 and lows of 10, and we're looking at mostly clear conditions at 25 in Lagos with highs of 33. 33 will also be the high in Kinshasa, where it's sunny at 23. We'll see lows of 22.
Spice up your
All
life.
right, a little bit here and there on Langata Road, but nothing crazy. Landys Road still continues to be it, and we're looking at traffic just off the junction going towards Jogo Road this morning. Most of the traffic that you'll see this morning just around there, and then in the CBD. Nothing much beyond that. Let's talk through the morning, however. 40127 is the text line, and you can tweet SpiceFM KE.
Classic soul, R&B, smooth jazz, neo soul, and nostalgic ballads.
Make some noise. Yeah.
You're listening to Spice FM. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself.
23 minutes to 9. This conversation continues and we're going to open up
94.4
conversation 0719-012-600 at 0719-012-600. So we have seen the register of political parties has cleared some 7,200 people to run as independents for various slots. 47 of them want to be president. Now add those 47 independent presidential aspirants. Add the ones that are coming in with political parties. We know UDA has a candidate. We know Azimio Party has a candidate. Safina has a candidate. Which is the one for Walter Mongare?
I forget.
Yes. Walter Mongare is in a political party. Ruben Kigame is in a political party. The one for cows, Governor Mwango area is a political. The Democratic Party has a speaker. PA does not have.
Doesn't have a president.
Yeah, PA does not have a presidential candidate.
What is the cow party?
The cow party, the Mwango area party. Forget.
Okay.
It's not the service party.
Let me put it to you this way. There are so many parties. You remember the name today.
Then you forget.
In the course of the day, out of the window.
Gone.
Because others have come in and you're wondering, what's the difference between then you figure, no, let me focus on the individual. Yes. And that is adequate.
So the question that we are asking, though, is when you have all these people, if only the presidential ballot has 50 names on the presidential ballot.
At a minimum.
At a minimum. Now you can imagine the number of names that you will see for MCA. Because even just going by the experience of 2017, where MCAs was going into 2-3 pages in some wards, this time you could go to 10 pages just looking for your candidate.
MCA.
MCA. And you are voting for one.
Is this you have good, time to get out of the booth.
Yes.
You have, really, you're thinking, I need to do
You've
this
been
and get out of the booth.
You've been queuing and there are people behind you. Ben in Kisii.
Asante sana.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Ben,
yes. The first thing I want to understand, based on what Muga has said.
Yes.
What happens to the rest of the candidates?
Which ones?
Because amesema tuna pick 1 and 2
and 3.
Oh, that is the example that he's giving for Papua New Guinea. It's not going to be applied in Kenya.
Sure.
Yes.
But let us understand from this perspective.
We've lost Ben. It's okay. Ben, call back. Karanja in Naivasha, good morning.
Good morning, Eric Kidu and City.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm very fine. Now,
yes,
I think these people, they are entering us into a very tedious process.
Yeah.
The reason is, how are we going to, this is backlog, my friend. How are we going to vote all these people for one day? Let's take, for example, choosing for the member of county assembly.
Yes.
It will take like 10 minutes for you to go through those papers.
Yes.
Now, they should give us maybe a week. Yes, it should be like a week. You can do like this. For instance, Naivasha East constituency or Naivasha East constituency has 250,000 registered voters. Give every person 80 minutes. So what are we doing?
But how many polling stations do you have?
Like we have 8 wards in Naivasha East constituency. So we can have like maybe like something to do like 60. 60
polling stations.
So polling stations. So you can calculate your mathematics very quickly and see. This is something that the farfaneria that they are using. This is shambolic, my friend.
Yes, it is.
So they should think of how they could reduce this number.
Okay.
To a number that people can afford to do it in a day. Thank you very much, Eric Duen City.
Thank you, Karanja. Wanyama in Mountain View. Good morning.
Hello, good morning. How are you?
Very well, thanks.
Now, I want to know one thing. All these contributors, the people calling themselves the president. Is it that the government is it going to pay them something small? That's why they are running as independent candidates, or what is it?
They are passionate about this country.
They feel they can represent the people.
They want to make a change.
No, but are they looking for something to come out of it?
Yes.
We should hope so. They're hoping that they will be elected.
Fine, how are you?
Wanyama, switch off your TV, please.
Switch off that TV.
Wana kuconfuse huko nyuma.
Sana.
Pole. So,
okay.
What one would only hope,
yes,
that the independent candidates, and we've actually interviewed several of them here on this show, who want to be president.
Yes.
They have a passion for this country. They feel that they want to contribute to the development of the country.
Yes.
So they're not doing this so that they are paid by government, so that they are sponsored by anyone. Many of them may be doing it because they strongly feel that they can't contribute.
Yes. What does the law say exactly when someone runs as independent candidate?
Relating to what exactly?
Relating to the finances.
There's no financial gain from government.
Or are you asking that
how much nomination fee is going to be?
No. If you stand as independent candidate, are you going to be financed by the government?
Nope.
Nope, sorry.
There's nothing.
Utauza ng'ombe yako.
I can understand Wanyama, you're wondering why would all these people, if I take the words out of your mouth, you're wondering why would all these people, without the guarantee of any kind of financial gain, throw their hat into the ring for what appears to you like a hopeless battle?
We enjoyed the show. The show is great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Wanyama. Joel in Kisumu, good morning.
Good morning to you.
How are you?
I'm doing fine. Eric, Ndu, and my brother City.
Good morning.
Very well, thank you, sir.
Okay. These guys are so many. You know, the people that are vying are so many. But I can understand, and everybody understands that you only have two main contenders for the presidency. That is Baba and William. So it's simple. Like for me, I'll just go to that polling station, get to that booth, and vote my candidate. It's simple. Then for the MCS, MPs and the rest, that big number spreads across the country. It's not very difficult. Like for me, I come from our 24 ward. I think Pete knows that region very well.
Which ward do you come from?
Awasi Onjiko ward.
Yes. You come from near Awasi City. Yes.
Yeah. Wow. so City.
Yes.
Ours is simple. Like we've got, I think there are four. One for ODM and the rest three independent. So my selection becomes simple. It's a simple thing, and I advise everybody who cares to listen that when we get there, it take like 2-3 minutes. Then you leave the rest of the time for others to go. It should not extend beyond a day because if it does, then just no Kenyans, that anxiety and whatever.
Yeah, true. Thank you, Joel. Let's hear from Robert in Nandi. Good morning.
Good morning to how are you people?
Good morning.
Yes, I'm okay, and I think my views are quite a bit different. Yeah, the fact that we have a lot of independent candidates here, gives us the opportunity to now see through what kind of leaders we can choose. And then two, the fact that we have a lot of independent candidates kills this fact that you must be over loyal to somebody to be able to get a party ticket. You see, like in Wasingishu, there are two guys there. There's one Nambia, anaitwa Kutimoja, and then there's Zedekia
Buzeki.
Yeah, you look at the way Buzeki is presenting his plan in terms of the strategic plan for Eldoret, and you look at Kutimoja, the other one is too political, but this other one is too strategic and a good plan. So I wish we had another independent candidate again to be able to take on Buzeki, for us to have, a better idea of what do we really want in politics. Is it just siasa too, or leaders who can plan for things?
So it's about spreading. This is giving you a wider choice.
Exactly, and that is to me ata pale juu in terms of presidency.
Yeah.
I wish we had a lot of more CEOs going for that presidential seat as independent candidates and pushing these guys not only to look at Matusi too, to be able to get the seat. No.
Point made. Thank you, Robert. Let's hear from others as well who are calling. Raymond in Langata, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine, thanks.
Both the presidential candidates, I was thinking we should make the nomination fee to be at least 10 million or 20 million.
Aye.
Because I think now we have too many jokers who just want to be... They're just wasting our time. Now do you have 47 presidential candidates?
And those are just independent.
Why are you calling them jokers, though, Raymond?
They are jokers. Even I've seen even some on TV, they do not have anything to offer. They're just...
we lost him. Fred in Naivasha, good morning.
Yes, good morning to you, Eric, and your colleagues.
Good morning.
Eric's colleagues are fine, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now, when you look at the independent candidates, I want to raise an issue there. Independent candidates are going through challenges because they were told to collect 500 signatures and 500 copies of IDs from their supporters.
Yep.
These are MCAs I'm talking about. And when you look at Eric, it may not be possible for these independent candidates to get 500 copies of IDs for their supporters.
Why?
I think the ITC wanted to complicate the issue so that they can reduce the number of people running in independence. But what I want to tell those guys, I'm also one of the people who are running as an independent for an MCA. And I feel like he was supposed to be given at least a simple way.
Are you saying it's very difficult for you to get 500 of your supporters to give you their copies of their IDs?
It is totally difficult because, you know...
But you can get them to vote for you.
At the village, people might not trust you with their IDs because you understand how people behave at the village. Even if they are supporting you, they may think that this person has got some other intentions with our national ID.
But they will trust you with their vote to go and represent them in the county assembly, where you're going there to superintend over billions of shillings.
They can trust me with their votes, but with their national ID a copy,
Ngumu.
It may be very difficult. So I would like the IBC to make that issue more simple so that all of us can appear in the ballot, because most of the good leaders normally come from the independent, and the reason is that you know, when you are an independent candidate or when you have been elected to an independent ticket, you will have enough time for your people rather than a political party leader who might force you to take sides which you don't like.
Okay.
In excess of your people.
Thank you, Fred.
So I think you should look at that one again. Thank you.
Asante sana. Peter Inongata Rongai.
Hello, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Yes, I'm calling from Ongata Rongai, but I'm registered voter in Kirinyaga County. And this is Mokole Award. Yes, and my contribution in today's debate is that all elections other than the presidential one are local.
Yep.
Meaning that I don't have to juggle through so many names and their symbols on the ballot paper. I'll only have to juggle with those that are contesting in my ward, for example.
Yes.
For example, right now maybe there are about 3 or 4. So for the MCA ward, for the ward level, I'll only have to choose between the 3. So I don't have a voluminous ballot.
But Peter,
the only one that yes.
There are instances, if we take the 2017 case,
yes,
there are some wards that had at least 15 candidates. Others had 30 candidates just for the seat of MCA.
Yes.
You may actually be shocked when you get to the ballot in your ward in Kirinyaga to find that you have actually more than the 4 that you know about.
Well, luckily enough, maybe you have deadlines, and then I'll be knowing. But for now, as we are speaking, the ones that I know, maybe they're about 4 or 3. So the issue that I wanted to talk about here is on the size of the ballot that I'll have to juggle through. If, for example, now we are talking about the presidential candidates, there will be about 50. So that is the only big thing, probably, that we'll be dealing with. There are 50, maybe 5 per page, so we'll be having like 10 pages or something like that, or something like that. But then the others now, it will depend on the numbers that we have on the county. Maybe the senator, the women rep, the governor, that kind of thing, and there will not be that many. So I wanted to say that it will be doable. We'll be able to do it. It may have increased this time loud because of one issue or the other, but it will be doable. We'll be able to do it.
Okay. Thank you, Peter.
Yes.
Let's hear from Biwot in Kitale.
Hello, morning.
Good morning.
Yes. It is quite interesting.
To me, I'm not surprised about the growing number of candidates because, Kenya are very much intelligent.
Yeah.
When it comes to choosing their candidate, they are already, as of now, they know whom they are doing. So it is not a big worry.
We'll be able to sail through.
Pardon?
You're saying it'll be easy when you get to the booth. You'll be able to select quite quickly who you want.
The pages will not matter. In fact, the pages will not matter because already they know where the candidate is. Anyone who is voting for any candidate already, they know where that is and they will vote.
Okay. Thank you, Biwot. Duncan in Busia.
Hey, thank you. How are you guys?
Very well.
Fine, thank you.
Thank you. Now, I think somebody is sleeping on his job because if IBC can take its time,
Go ahead.
IBC can take its time and allow all these people to bring confusion, then I think IBC is sleeping on its job because they should give a guideline where if we go per county, or on, let's take for example governor seat, MP seat, and MCAs, then they should give a guideline where like if governors, those who are vying should be at most 3 or 2. They reduce the number of MCAs at least maybe by 5 per ward. MPs by 4 or 3. Not allowing like 15 MP vying for MP, 20. That is a total confusion. Unless
Duncan, when you say that they are sleeping on their job, there is no law that tells them that they should limit the number of candidates for any seat.
If anything, they're encouraged to have as many people as want to participate in the process to participate.
This is the chance. This is where Kenyans, all the IPC get the chance of rigging. Because all that total confusion, why?
We hear you. Thank you very much, Duncan. Thank you, everybody, for calling in this morning. I mean, there are those that are saying, what's the big issue?
See, there
What?
we will go.
20, 30 candidates. I already know who I'm going to vote for by the time I'm getting onto that booth.
There's a fundamental difference, and that difference arises in the areas that we're speaking of and the populations that they have.
Yeah.
Because if you're coming from a place which has a population of 10,000 and you divide centers, yes, it may take long, but it will not go beyond a day. If you're talking about a town, a city, it's a completely different story.
Yeah.
Yes, the numbers of people who will want to vote, the choices they will have to make. So, yes, those who say it is simple, it may be true.
Yeah.
Because there are areas where it will not pose a big complication. But it will present you with something you've never experienced before.
There will be, a lot of pages to look at.
Yes.
Or a lot of names to go through.
That's true. And even if you do know who your candidate is, it still means that you're going to have to wade through all those other names to find it. It doesn't mean that because you know who your candidate is, that you're going to open the front page and they're going to be standing right, there's going to be sitting right there for you to pick. No, you're going to have to look through.
There's a sense of a feeling that you get when you're actually going to vote. It's like an exam.
It is like an exam.
It's not as simple as, just going there and picking mangoes and just pressing this.
No, that's true, Eric.
It's different.
You engage your mind. There's a thought process that goes through it. You look at those names, you may think you've made up your mind, but am I really going to vote for this person, really? I mean, honestly speaking, this person, no, I'm not voting for this person.
Or you could think, I know I'm going to... It happens. Exam anxiety. It's the same thing. It's real. You could go in thinking, CT Muga, CT Muga, CT
and then you
Muga,
go there
and then you go to Eric Latiff.
Yes.
Or you decide, me, my party is this.
Yes.
Then you look at the person who is vying for that ticket on that party, you feel no.
And there's a doubt that you heard about this person.
This particular, you say no. And then you look and say, but this guy makes a better, in my mind, this guy would make a better leader. And then you look around, nobody knows who I'm voting for. Take.
That has taken 45 seconds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just that one, alone, just thinking.
And then you have these others.
And then you have the others. It may take a while. Anyway, these conversations continue. Thank you very much for tuning in on KTN Home. They continue on SpiceFM around the country and also on SpiceFM KE on Facebook and YouTube. Coming up to the top of the hour, telling you about Colgate and what Colgate has been doing in the 7 counties for the last 4 years.
Indeed, 7 counties, 90 water wells having been sunk around the country, providing the much needed resource of water. And Colgate, in association with Well Boring, have decided, look, we want to do this for more Kenyans. 120,000 more Kenyans being looked at and saying we can do this for them by sinking 30 more water wells. And how can this happen? If you buy a packet of Colgate toothpaste exclusively at Naivas, 10 shillings from that purchase goes towards making sure these 30 more water wells are sunk by the end of 2022, and 120,000 more Kenyans have access to clean water.
Our friend Andrew Franklin says, yes, he actually went to Naivas the other day during his shopping. He already had Colgate at home, but he thought, no, let me participate. Let me encourage what Colgate are doing and support them. So he bought an extra tube of Colgate at Naivas Lavington Curve, in addition to his other shopping, just in response to what Colgate has been asking us to do. Asante sana, Andrew. Keep it here for more conversations coming up in the next hour. A very good morning to you. It's now 9 o'clock.
Spice up your life. The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning. This is Newswire. I am Stephanie Wangari. NARC Kenya leader Martha Karua has accused Deputy President William Ruto of corruption, saying that he has been receiving pay for work he long stopped doing. Karua argued that receiving money, having not done any work, was a form of corruption. There has been pressure on the DP to resign for propagating the ideologies of a party that did not sponsor him to office. Dr. Ruto is now the United Democratic Alliance party leader after quitting the Jubilee Party. President Uhuru Kenyatta castigated his deputy on Sunday for being an absentee principal assistant. Mombasa Governor Ali Hassan Joho has set the stage for a clash between Orange Democratic Movement Party leader Raila Odinga and his Wiper counterpart Kalonzo Musyoka over Mike Sonko's entry into the Mombasa gubernatorial race. Joho castigated the move by Wiper to clear the ousted Nairobi governor to contest in the county. The outspoken governor and a close ally of Odinga opined that Mombasa was not a county to impose leaders on, promising Sonko a fierce political battle at the ballot. Now, Catholic Archbishop Anthony Moheria has challenged aspirants seeking elective seats at the general election to prioritize achieving legislative goals that will help Kenya thrive in the event that they do not clinch the positions at the polls. According to Moheria, elected leaders should think less of themselves and more of their constituents and put aside their personal ambitions to focus on the success of the nation. By embracing selfless leadership, Moheria said office holders will create systemic changes that will have good effects on key economic drivers in the country. The Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission has suspended registration of voters until March 13, 2023. Those who will be affected by the move are Kenyans who want their polling stations changed and those living in the diaspora. Through a Gazette notice, IEBC Chairperson Wafula Chebukati said the move will allow the Commission to enable availability of registration of voters to the public for purposes of verification of biometric data and particulars of registered voters. Chebukati also said that the new register of voters has been completed and is available for verification, an exercise that will start on May 4th for a period of 30 days. Kenya and U.S. trade and investment experts are set to resume talks on a potential trade deal between the two partner countries this month. The representatives are set to have an in-person meeting scheduled between Tuesday and Friday this week. Trade and Enterprise Development Principal Secretary Johnson Waweru will lead the Kenyan delegation in the 4-day closed-door meetings. Assistant United States Trade Representative for African Affairs Constance Hamilton is meanwhile expected to lead the U.S. delegations. The fresh round of meetings is expected to firm up discussions of a potential free trade agreement between the pair of countries. Now, journalists from across the world are observing the World Freedom Day today, the day celebrated to emphasize the importance of a free press. As per the official website of the United Nations, May 3rd acts as a reminder to governments of the need to respect their commitment to press freedom. It is also a day of reflection among media professionals about issues of press freedom and professional ethics. That's your news at the top of the hour. I am Stephanie Wangari.
94.4 Spice FM.
It's after 9 o'clock, and not much in terms of traffic. It's likely going to be this way for most of the day. We'll probably see heightened traffic towards the end of the day. We're already seeing some of it on Jogo Road heading towards Landis. A lot of folk travelling out of the city, especially those who are taking children to school. And we're going to see heightened traffic towards the end of the day in other parts of the country as well, just because of that. Probably back to full operations tomorrow, but for today, enjoy the easy streets because... not much happening. Let's talk, however, through the day on SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Text 40127. Let's check back in half an hour and see if anything has changed.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up.
It is
not
6
down.
minutes after 9. Kenya's
This
biggest
is the
conversation. It continues into the final hour of the final day of the midterm break.
All right, since it is final, the final proverb from the Central African Republic. No, the second to last final.
Okay.
Okay. Not final.
Penultimate.
Final will be tomorrow.
Okay.
All right. A big river is enlarged by its tributaries. Not distributaries, tributaries.
Yeah.
Not what?
Distributaries. As you said, where the waters are coming from.
Estuary, yeah, the place where birds congregate.
And even where now the river meets the ocean.
That's
the mouth.
That one.
That's a delta.
And archipelago is which one now?
Archipelago.
Yeah, it actually is an estuary. Yeah.
And archipelago is an estuary.
Yeah.
Now, what you were looking for, where the bees meet or whatever, is called an apiary.
Oh, that's what you're looking for?
Who asked? Was it you?
No, it was you.
No, I didn't ask about where the bees meet.
You said no, beehives.
It was Eric.
Now, I knew that Eric is a person who is cryptic. When you talk beehives, you're talking honey. So where honey congregates, supermarket.
You're just exemplifying your sweet tooth this morning.
Or cultural establishment.
Yes.
Refined honey.
Cultural establishment has many definitions.
Yes, and honey also has many definitions.
Honey pia inawekangwa kwa dawa.
Yes. Unaona hiyo? Yes. Honey pia anaweza kukuwekea dawa.
Bas.
Sikusema hivyo. I didn't say that.
Honey pia anaweza kukuwekea dawa. Bas.
Honey is a noun or...
Honey is a noun either which way.
It's a verb.
You know the rate we're going, it's going to be a pronoun.
It's back to school. Remember, it was supposed to have been early in the week. Now, because of the extended midterm, even the Ministry of Education advised schools to push it. So from tomorrow into next week, we'll start seeing Form 1s reporting to school. And they go into school, and by the end of this year, December, they'll have finished an entire academic year. Now, the issue is not the entire academic year and the compression of it. They're used to it. They have done 2 years compressed already. So these kids are already used to it.
They are battle hardened.
Si utufanye mpaka form 4 by next year.
Tumalizane na hii kitu.
Maliza hii kitu.
Then university do the same thing.
Yes.
So 3-year course, 1 year done.
Maliza hii kitu twende.
Tuanze life.
Kasonge. The issue is on the requirements to joining Form 1. The Standard has a story today, and we were looking at it earlier, on some of these requirements where a parent has had to actually fork out 27,350 on uniforms, which include blazers, jumpers, socks, trousers, shirts for just one student who's joining Form 1.
Bow tie.
Ana bow tie. 27,350 is just for jacket, blazer, trouser, sweater, jacket, bumper jacket, jumper jacket, bouncer jacket, half jacket, half coat, all those things combined in one. If you look at some of these places, what they're asking for, there are schools in Nakuru where girls' schools are asking for 1 students to report with everything else, including kamis, petticoats. The uniforms include 3 blouses, a long-sleeved sweater, a short-sleeved sweater, a polo neck sweater, a tracksuit, 3 pairs of white socks, a pair of trousers, a half coat, a bow tie, a t-shirt, a necktie, a lab coat, a towel, 4-inch mattress, 2 blankets, a pair of bed sheets, bed cover, bucket, and a dozen pegs. Now, there are some schools that are saying, okay, so your student has been admitted and they've been allocated to dormitory X. So dormitory X has its own color scheme. So the bed sheets are supposed to be this color. The sweater is supposed to be this color. So we can distinguish those ones who come from dormitory X and those that come from dormitory Y when they're in the same classroom. And should your child be so selected to become a prefect, of course, the school tie or the sweater or the blouse or the shirt or the trouser may be different. So we can identify the class prefect or whatever prefect
from the rest of the class.
And then the schools have told you, some schools are saying this is a specific shop that you go to buy from. Others have said you pay and we shall provide this child. The whole issue here is how much parents are having to cough for just uniform. It is appearing that the list that people are paying for is 5,650, and this is for schools, what are they called? The day schools. 10,500 for county schools. When you now go to extra county, that's the former provincial schools, into the national schools. My friend, this is a national school.
Excuse me.
Yeah, school fees is different. School fees you have to pay in full, and uniform, you have to come with proper school uniform where you pay 30,000 shillings for school uniform. Madness. And the schools are saying, you come and report on the 4th. If you do not report by sunset on the 4th.
Sunset. Real sunset.
Yes. If you do not report by sunset on this reporting date, we shall assume that you do not fit this school and we shall allocate your slot to somebody else.
It's not fair, man.
You know, Eric, why this attitude? I mean, why this approach to this matter where you are treating the parents like adversaries? I mean, it's adversarial. Yani,
if you don't come, you're not coming. I mean, you are not even taking into consideration the very many factors.
Unakuja ama tufunge.
Unakuja ama hukuji.
Unafunga, sisi tunalala. Unakuja ama tufunge mlango.
I mean, what is this?
No, I'm sorry, but you cannot deal like that. By the time I took the decision to bring my child to school, was I playing? No, I wasn't. Without even taking into consideration the factors that could be involved in why I may be late, why I don't come on day 1. Look at the circumstances surrounding the opening of schools in the first place this particular year. And
you know where this is most rampant? Public schools.
It is. And why do you do that? And you know what? The reason why it's happening like this? Because there is a long waiting list of folks who want their children to attend those schools. And that's the reason why they do this. Not for anything else. If you didn't have the long waiting list, you would not hear this punitive address towards parents. Because they know that, they already know that today, you say you're not coming. Really, there are people who are waiting to take up those slots.
The waiting list is long.
And there are people who have, as they say, poured money truth be told, for those positions. So if you don't come, you're doing them a favor, actually. They're not going to beg you to come because they know that there are others who have already put their names down to fill up those slots.
You can't afford a bow tie.
Imagine. You can't afford 350 shillings for school ID. Just wait there first, please. I'm coming. There's already somebody who has taken your slot. Then 2 of you can come and have a discussion later. The punitive approach is not necessary. It's not necessarily because they want to be punitive, but they need to find a reason
to bump you off.
That's it. They need to find a reason to give these others who are on the waiting list an opportunity to attend the institution. Because they've already semi-promised them a position by putting them on a waiting list. It's again like waiting for a plane. You've already been kind of promised that you're going to get a seat from destination A to B. You're on the waiting list. So in case this should happen, we bump you. Now, the in case is you who doesn't show up on the 4th.
Look, how do you have a nation where one of the most sensitive issues that any person who is of age and has a child or has school-going children, why do we have an entire nation where everyone who's in a position of authority is a shakedown artist? Huh? I mean, you want to do something. Yes, it's very difficult. I mean, something that is supposed to be, you're right, it's suddenly difficult.
Yes.
It's not as
and you know very well what you're being told when the person tells you this thing is difficult. I'm giving you an opportunity to make it easy. But, this is where I think the idea of going easy and saying, well, under these circumstances, you can understand. Actually, no, there are no circumstances.
Under which one would understand?
No, none whatsoever.
No. The worst part, like we've said, most of this, they hire the school level, that is national, extra county, blah, 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 blah. They hire the school fees and they hire the amount of money required for these things, right?
Yes.
But also it means that you are locking out the vulnerable. Because of the quota system, we have seen that because of quota system, there's been this preferential placement of, let's say, schools, children from slum areas, from underprivileged communities, getting slots in the provincial, this extra county or national schools. Now, these are the ones that are saying, okay, you need to go and buy school fees, I don't know where. You need to go and come here with blazer, what color? This is our Pantone, all right? If you come, what are these colors? What gray and what pink?
The orange, they're different shades.
There's burnt orange and?
Orange and deep red. Leaning towards maroon, ile.
Yeah. So you're telling Mama Eric, who was a cowboy from Kimana, come to my school with orange. Burnt orange. We are going to Loitoktok market. We pima in Ebu Ivai inakutoshea ita sasa utaenda mpaka.
The person who's telling you he in your burnt orange. Lakini umeonyesha this is a burnt orange.
Burnt orange. You report to school and they start telling you
burnt orange. Si mimi ndio nauza nguo. Mimi najua rangi zote. Hata purple, hata lilac. Sasa he ndio burnt orange.
Make it worse. So this child who is coming from Oloitoktok has been admitted to a school in Eldoret. Okay? And you've been told school uniform you go and buy at a shop, this shop, blah, 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 in Eldoret.
Yeah.
So?
And you can't go on the day off.
You can't. So you have to go earlier. So that you go at tumetumwa sasa
in your list.
The shop had not told you how much.
No.
You land there. Hizi shati zinatekana tatu. There's a shop attendant.
And they're already packing it.
Ni shule ya fulani.
They're already putting it in the bag. Age,
going to
what
the
age?
Anaingia form 1. Huyu ni size gani? Huyu anakaa small. Go to the till, you're told 30,000 shillings. My friend, this is just uniform. And you've already been told, go and pay the whole amount for school fees, or we are not admitting your child to school.
Yes.
This is a total madness.
Bangi.
What is going to happen is that Eric na mama yake watarudi Loitoktok.
Very easy. With the money that they had,
yes,
they'll go and look for school in that area.
Go and look for a school there and move on.
And it's, look, I saw a lady, she was given the bill. She was just reading the list, or innocently reading her list. This. Oga was just bringing. She now said, now you don't pay there. They give you everything that they write on the paper. Now you carry your paper and your load.
You go to the cashier.
Cashier does the... Do you know she didn't talk? She just left. Just left everything and said, I beg, carried her child where they came. Like that. She did not ask. Oh, please,
because they went to the list and the attendant pale.
List, she's just reading.
Just for purposes of demonstration, is Mutua. Mutiso was just, sweater.
And she's just standing, she's okay.
Blazer. You know how she they look nice. Blazer.
This one or this one? She said this one. Gave her the paper. Auntie went to the cashier. Cashier just, that thing they do. Called the number. Auntie did not look back. Carried her child.
It's called moment of truth.
What are we talking about? What? No, we're not doing like that. It's not this school we are going to. It's not this one we are going. Come, let's go. It's okay, no problem. The person at the cashier didn't even know what was going on. They just went. No, please, can I? No, is there 10% for? No. Because clearly,
even 50% wouldn't master.
It has passed her capacity completely. She just took her son's hand and they went. How many of those will be replicated across country who will say, you know what, it's too much? Look, by the time you're walking into the store, the anticipation of hope, or wherever you're going to buy books, whatever, the anticipation of hope is that you'll be able to afford it. But the reality of things on the ground right now is that unfortunately, people are making a killing out of these things. We understand that there's inflation, we understand that things have become more expensive, but I'm saying that there's an element here of fool's play that is not right. It is not good. There are compromises that can be made. It's already difficult to get kids in school and operating. Why make it that much more difficult? Whereby there should be some kind of consensus.
Let's actually start this story from the point when results come out. Okay? All of you together are seated. All of you together send star blah, 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 blah to find out the results. They come. Oh my God, you pray, you praise, you call the pastor, come, let's thank God, blah, blah. You next, wait for the admission. Admission letter comes. Oh my God, they have been admitted to this school. You pray, you thank God. There's all that excitement. What is the reporting day? So these are the requirements. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. And this is school fees and all those things. If you don't come by this day, by the way, don't come. All those things have been told in the letter. But there is hope. You're hopeful. You've been told, guys, just go and buy these things. Just go to the school and tell them, at least you've bought the uniform and everything. You've bought the mattress. This is a 3-inch. You have a medium mattress form. All those things I've done. School fees. I'm coming back.
Let my child start.
Yes. At that initial stage of uniform, you face this shocker. Look at that child.
Deflated.
My friend, it is one of the most difficult things a parent will have to face because that child has done their bit.
Yes. Like you're saying, the results have come. They've prayed. You went, you performed. Their prayers answered. You praised. Right?
You got school.
Yep. You got school. Then now there's an element that has been introduced here that now will almost completely negate everything that you have done.
Not almost.
You are being locked out.
Yeah.
Not almost.
Completely.
You're basically being told, wewe hautoshi mboga.
Now you see where the tragedy occurs is this, huh? This information about all these costs are things you can know of ahead of time. Now, that is why you have a bursary system at the what? The constituency level.
Yep.
Then at the county level, there is yet another one. Within the national government, there is yet another. Forget the private ones, wings to fly high, and all the others. Forget those. Now, we have living examples of governors who have made use of these funds to ensure that what we're discussing here isn't an impediment to the child's learning.
It shouldn't be. But you know what? Call it a socialist approach, but I think it's absolutely necessary. Look, where we have reached, where we currently are, I think you have to employ the element of socialism here. and say, you know what, can we all come together and say, let there be a standard? It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter which school. It doesn't matter which level. Can there be a standard for some of these things? Whether it is uniform, whether it is books, let there be a standard. We can understand if there will be an
schools will
increment,
have
but
this
come on.
tie and one sweater. I mean, this nonsense of saying you have a fleece sweater, you have a fleece jacket, you have a polo neck. But
look, let it be standard across board. It doesn't matter.
Do you know what
ankle socks, knee socks,
half jacket,
socks.
bumper jacket. Why? If you, fine, have it, the bumper jacket.
Uniform.
It's okay.
You haven't gone there yet.
Do it.
Weekend
but
wear.
Can it be standardized?
But
can it be standardized so that we're starting from 1? Let us know that the full set of uniform is going to be 16,000 shillings. That these centers where uniforms are being done, it doesn't matter what school you are, that they have been able to do it in such a manner that we know this is what we're going to spend. Now you go and give people heart attack.
You know what the problem arises? When a child goes to Form 1 or junior, medium, whatever level of education, they are growing. That uniform, by the end of that year, you will need to buy.
Or even, you see the way Samsung is doing trade-in. If you finish your uniform and you've grown out of it, for example, come and trade in, add small money on top and get another one.
You know where this thing used to be useful was in the old families where there was more than one child. So you're growing outgrowing uniform wasn't an issue. You're the youngest.
Because you give somebody else.
Look, there are families where the girl was the firstborn and there was a boy. While parents were sorting out the issue of what clothes to buy for the boy, they would wear the dresses that the sister left.
City stockers. Oh.
So when you look at old family photographs, you say, hey, you mean your 2 daughters? He said, no, this was our son.
I said he'd wear the old dress.
Yeah, it's clothes.
Go.
You really think a child actually has a big issue?
Yes, City, I do.
You talk about modern times where you've indoctrinated your children. In the days when children were allowed to think freely, an item of clothing was an item of clothing. Look, what you speak of is something that is not just mythical, but is something that used to be the norm.
Seriously.
The competition in this country for the longest time was to go to a public school. Whether it is primary, because you knew the standard of education was the highest. You knew that is where you need to go to school and that's where you'll benefit. You knew. The Ministry of Education is not going to get away with this because it is under their purview and it is them who have let these standards drop, and the problems with congestion, all these things, it is them. Now, they want to put Band-Aid on a broken leg and you have a situation that is clearly running out of control, even as we watch.
Completely.
As we watch.
No,
and then you wonder why it is that the proliferation of private schools keeps increasing. Because private schools, not this thing we're discussing, they'll charge you more, but they will give you a discussion about, okay, what do you think you can
do now?
Can we have a plan?
Can we bring the next one?
Yes, exactly. And uniform. No, we've written this, but just so that they can have a change of uniform, just to they give you.
Or we as the school will bring some uniforms here, and what we'll do is that we'll provide your children with it, but we'll just add it to your
the
school
fees.
fees.
Now, see.
Let me tell you, even for the private sector, it is the same kind of story. It depends on where this private school has placed itself. A private school that has placed itself as a national school, it is, listen, either your child is wearing a vest and this vest has this kind of thread count, or you're not coming to this school. That's it. It's not discussion.
Imagine. So we said that thread count.
Eric,
thread count for vests.
Eric, what I'm saying is that they give you some leeway. That direct cost that is you're confronted with, that one, should we say, is reduced. Yes, there will be a cost. But because we want this child to be here. Now, what has made that conversation even more tenable is COVID. Because they realize that if you are not flexible, because this is a business you're running, you will have no one coming to that school of yours. It's that simple. Now, the government schools, ostensibly, fees is heaviest when you first come in. Then it reduces.
Over
yes,
time.
exactly. Okay? But even that fees, the real problem is how we hear parents being managed. We don't also hear stories of school heads who are humane and manage parents very differently and are accommodating because they exist. They give you a leeway and they say, this is what I think What can you do? This is how you ought to do it. And let's try this. And let's see, when the term goes by, let's have another discussion. But just keep paying. You see, with every payment, you're reducing it. Okay? Now, by the moment you tell a parent you're going to pay all this, after deduction, my salary is 15,000 shillings.
Imagine.
I have 4 children.
Yes.
Okay? I have rent, electricity. Yes, exactly.
Is 27K.
Yes, now, so what do you want me to do exactly? And there are other children also. What do you want me to do with this 15,000?
That's where. Now, that's the one I'm actually feeling for. Okay? This one whose net income is 15,000 shillings has other children. This one child has performed very well. They are not going to a local community school where I can go with other community elders or Nyumbakumi and have a conversation with the head.
No.
This child has been sent to a county school or an extra county or a national school.
It's like going to another planet.
Well, when you go into that headmaster has absolutely no clue who you are, does not care. And that's where those children who deserve a chance to be in this school are being knocked off the chances. This is where they're basically just being robbed of the opportunity to be in this school. Yes, you performed well. You came from a school somewhere in Samburu. In the midst of all the violence, you scored 370.
Well,
you've been admitted to a provincial or national school, but you will not go to that school. We were told when we were having the conversation with our friends from Kerio Valley of a child who had performed very well, was number 1 in that region, but could not go to an extra county school. They ended up in the local day school.
Yes, exactly. And for those
mainly because of this particular reason.
Yes. You know, this is where I think we in the media have an important role to play. We should make it our business to find outside things and talk about it. Because what we've seen in the past is when something is highlighted and people get to know of it, people come out and say, okay, I'm willing to help the here.
Yep.
COVID notwithstanding. And other people who have foundations and who have the means to do such things say, okay, let us see what we can do for this particular child. Because can you imagine what a downer it is? All that effort. And you see, we still live in a country where the performance of a child is not the performance of a child. The future of that family is hinged on this person.
This result slip means a lot to an entire clan.
Yes, exactly. This one.
And then you just go and extinguish that flame like...
Yeah, that's what you've done. Essentially, you've put it out. You know, it's a little bit more than dampening. You've put it out because they just have been robbed of the opportunity to do this.
You know, I never quite understood this fully. I thought I did. Until when I was stationed at the College of Health Science, every year there's a time they tell you, on this day... Well, in the end, we decided on that day you simply don't come to work. You know why? It was graduation at the Kenya Medical Training College. Now, why I'm saying it taught me this, I would go to work, but I would not drive. I'd go by public means, or I would just walk. Because where I live, walking distance. The number of buses and matatus
at KMTC,
my friend,
which is just next to the School of Health Sciences.
Yes,
at KNH.
People would park, city mortuary parking full. The road alongside, parking full. Going right down to near Kenyatta Market, parking, buses. Then I said, community.
Yes.
It's one person graduating, but a whole matatu load, the 27-seater, they have come for this graduation.
Absolutely.
We have produced a nurse.
Precisely. It's a big thing.
Now, you imagine on the way to producing this nurse, you basically lock them out from that experience by giving them a bill of, I don't know what, thousands that they clearly cannot meet. And it may seem like it's just a detail, but truly, it is what is hinged on whether this child will go to this institution or not. Institution has said, without this, you cannot attend. Here you are, without money, you cannot get this thing which allows you to attend the institution. You're going to say, well, I can't do it. What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Do you know
That's it. As in it ends there.
And by the time this child recovers mentally, because that shock goes to them, by the time this child recovers mentally and accepts that, yes, I passed so well, but I'm now in this local day school. Well, everybody else knows how well I performed, but I'm in this local day school. By the time that child accepts and recovers from that, My friend.
Are we going on to a break now?
Let's take this break.
Okay, let's take a break.
And will tell us about the new Samsung A series, 33, 53, 73, brand new. As you prepare that information, because it's heavy information, Julia is telling us about 4 years ago, my cousin's daughter was going to Form 1. We went to do shopping at Tuskys, then Bata, then Savanis. When we left Savanis, we headed to Gikomba for night dresses and dusters, and we are ready for a fight.
Why is it not new?
It's what?
Why is it not new?
Is it what you wanted or is it not?
Yes.
Where had you said it had to be new?
It had to be new.
Where? Show me. Where did you write?
They're even buying night dresses and dusters.
And
Yes.
dusters, yeah.
Just it.
Yeah.
You can still be awesome, guys. Samsung is making sure you can do that with this new A series range from 33, 53, and 73. The camera is spectacular and it allows you to take your awesome game to the next level. Great pictures, capture awesome videos with this new series, and it won't get interrupted because of the 2-day battery. So many great features that you can use CT. I know that, the last few days you've been having these great experiences. Now imagine if you had the Samsung A73 and you would have been able to capture all those experiences on the phone. I said not only 4 cameras.
No, I said the one
with 4 cameras. Yes.
No,
imagine if you'd have been able to do that right here, right now. You would have been flexing for us, showing us, look where I was, look at what I did.
You're taking 4 different pictures at the same time.
Yes.
Each camera, my friend.
And sometimes you even take the phone and do like this.
And then
it captures all the pictures for you.
And then it brings them together. Whoop.
I'm telling you. Onomatopoeia notwithstanding.
And if you don't want someone in that photo, you can just
edit them out.
You can edit out someone.
Or you can say, I wasn't there. And in this case, you can truly not have been there. It wasn't me. No photo evidence.
25 to 10. Time for that break.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation. Brought to you by Colgate.
This nation has never healed genuinely from the 2008 violence. We've never had a healing process. We swept it under the rug.
Let me tell you, the handshake was the most disastrous political event in the history of country after the coup attempt of 1982.
There's no Kikuyu pothole, Luo lack of water, Okamba, lack of traffic. There is no Luya lack of drugs in the hospitals. Or Jaluo one. All our issues are the same issues.
If you are in a room and just about everybody in that room has a court case or another, what impression does that give you?
What are you saying? Why haven't you done it in the last 20 years? But they're telling us, like August, some miracle is going to happen. My friend.
The sun is trying to peek through those clouds in Nairobi, 19 degrees, highs of 23 and lows of 14. We'll see 19 degrees and mostly cloudy conditions in Nakuru, highs of 24 and lows of 15. Highs will be 23 in a rainy Nyeri, currently at 18, and light rain in Eldoret at 19, highs of 23 and lows of 13. At 26, Mombasa is cloudy, highs of 30 and lows of 25, and Malindi rain showers at 26, highs of 30 as well. Kisumu is mostly cloudy at 24, it'll go to highs of 28, and we'll see highs of 27 in a mostly cloudy Kakamega, currently at 24. Kampala is sunny right now, at least at 23. We'll see highs of 25, and we'll see highs of 31 in Dar es Salaam, where it's mostly cloudy at 27. Johannesburg is sunny at 13, highs of 21, and Lagos is partly sunny at 26 with highs of 33. 33 will also be the high in a sunny Kinshasa, currently at 24. Out in Beijing, really warm today. We're looking at sunny conditions at 30 Tuesday afternoon. 32 will be the high. And sunny conditions in Paris at 9, highs of 20, highs of 16 in a cloudy London, currently at 11, and it's cloudy at 12 in New York, highs of 19 and lows of 10.
Classic soul, R&B, smooth jazz, neo soul, and nostalgic ballads.
Make some noise.
Not much
You're
of that this
listening
morning.
to
Just a little bit on Jogo Road and going out towards Landis, and even that is not too bad right now. Just getting to that junction at Kamkunji. Quite some activity there this morning, spilling over to Haile Selassie. And then in the middle of the city, going towards Eastley, quite some traffic there as well. Coming off Thika Superhighway, nothing happening in and out without too much of a delay. And it's likely to be that way through the rest of today. today. Let's talk through today on SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Text 40127.
Spice and everything nice, everything nice.
Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings
21 minutes to
right.
10. Conversation.
94.4.
From me now, 0719-012-600. That's 0719-012-600. What do you experience? Are you taking a child to Form 1? Or do you know a close friend, relative, neighbor who's taking their child to Form 1? What are the requirements? What are they being asked to do? How much should they be paying? Public extra county and national schools are charging between 35,000 and 45,000 school fees per year. Bungoma County, 7,000 Form 1 students will benefit from a scholarship program. There are areas where they're getting scholarship, others they are not. Some schools are asking for a lot of money. St. Michael's Boys High School, Terige, an extra county school. Students are required to buy full uniform, mattress, bed sheets, bed cover, a water bucket at a cost of 16,500. Branding of school uniform will cost 400. A school ID will cost 400. And you have to pay 200 bob for NEMIS. See, NEMIS exists.
Mm-hmm.
What are you paying 200 bob
Why?
for? To activate the account? I don't know.
No, come on. See, those are the small things, and they slip it in the door there. You can imagine how much is coming. 200, and you have what? Give or take 500 students? How much are you
What
getting?
is 200 bob
What
for
is it
NEMIS?
for? Daylight robbery, I'm telling you.
Paying 200 bob
because
for
you may
Bobo.
look at it's not 200 shillings. You say, okay, maybe it's not too much compared to the 16,500 shillings that I must spend on uniform. It's not too much money, right? Multiply it by the number of people who are attending that school, and then you tell me. Did KNEC, as I call it, tell you that they need 200 bob for people to then access NEMIS? Did they tell you that?
AIC Litain Girls Secondary School. Students will be issued with uniforms upon payment of 19,270. Due to uniformity and quality purposes, uniform items are obtained in school, arrived at in a competitive bidding process at 19,270. Unasikia? This is using economies of scale that has reduced the price so much to a level of 19,000 only.
From?
They didn't tell us.
Maybe it was even 100,000. You know, we have really negotiated. We have gone to this one supplier. The uniform includes 2 skirts, 3 blouses, a long-sleeved sweater, a short-sleeved sweater, a polo neck sweater, a tracksuit, 3 pairs of white socks, a pair of trousers, a half coat, a bow tie, a t-shirt, a necktie, a lab coat, a towel, a 4-inch mattress, 2 blankets, a pair of bed sheets, a bed cover, a bucket, and a dozen pegs. All those things for 19,000 in Nyeri.
You know,
people are going through hell, my friends.
There are people who've taken these matters into their own hands. They're not waiting for people to decide for them. There's where the offices from which I functioned in Kisumu city. It was called Mombasa Health Center. And directly in front of it, next to it, was Ondike Estate. Now, that estate has a very vibrant group of people who take matters into their own hands. Yes, they have decided that they have children in their mates who have done well. They are already raising money. Yes, they're not waiting for, you can apply, but just so that the children can have a fighting chance of going to school.
They're already doing their own community
They are already
bursary.
doing their own community thing and raising money, and people are contributing.
I get it.
It's a good one.
And that's what I'm talking about, that those are the things that need to happen. However, I really believe that the champions of these things need to be institutions. It needs to be government.
Yes.
It really does.
Much as the communities are coming together to contribute, we should also be looking at how much they're being charged. This 19,000 is due for necktie, bow tie, 2 trousers, 2 shirts, bucket, half jacket, full jacket, polo neck jacket, polo neck sweater, polo neck sweater. It's
Surely,
like an option.
how much does a shirt cost?
Surely.
Why should we have all these items? This is one child, okay? Okay, it's in Litain. But why should you have a long-sleeved sweater, short-sleeved sweater, polo neck sweater.
So they'll tell you that in the
It's
warm
a criminal.
season, you should wear the short sleeve, and in the cold season, you wear the long sleeve. But what I'm tickled about is that, so when do you wear the bow tie and when do you wear the necktie?
It depends.
During the warm season.
On assembly
on the
day,
function.
you'll wear the full tie. I don't know, when you do day, you'll wear the bow tie.
tie.
Yeah.
Weekend, school function,
No
debate,
tie.
bow tie, whatever. But look, once upon a time, you asked to bring uniform and you went to the local tailor fundi.
To put it together.
Yeah, they would put together some designer item. I mean, you'd find one sleeve is shorter than the other, but so what?
You're not all together there, even you.
As for the shorts, you'd find the shorts are gripping certain parts of your body that you really wish it didn't grip. But you went to school.
Abby? Because at the end of the day, what are we looking for? Is it how you're dressed or what you're going to learn?
Yes.
Asking a community to contribute whatever amount of money, okay? But instead of charging them 19,000, we say, for example, that we've standardized, like you're saying. Ministry has standardized. Uniform, we know a child will require 6,000 shillings for uniform. So if a community is contributing and they contribute, they can know we have raised enough money to buy uniform for this number of students.
Yes.
How much would that community be able to, how many students can they send to Litain?
With 19,500.
Actually, even more interesting.
And that's just uniform.
Yeah.
Those communities may even have people who can make that uniform.
Yeah.
Now, if you really wanted to help people.
Someone is contributing in kind.
Yes.
Others.
Precisely. Why?
I can bring 2 meters of cotton.
Yes,
white cotton
Somebody can say,
material.
look, I know where I can access this particular material. So and so we know makes clothes. They can. Now, you know, that group of people have been removed from that equation completely, because you're being told you must go to this shop, this one.
And you know, the thing is, you see, why I'm saying that I think it is important for government to step in here is because if you standardize the cost of these things and you know, right, I'm going to Form 1, I'm going to Form 2, whatever, and you know that uniform, all those things that they have called, if they want to add basin, bucket, what, all those things they've called, you know that the cost is this much. Basin, doesn't matter if your shop is in Sarit Center or if it is downtown or wherever, in Nakuru or Kisumu, it doesn't matter. You know that the cost of this for anybody who's going to Form 1 will be 215 shillings. So you will not go and somebody will charge you 450. What it does also is that it allows all these outlets also to be standardized. And so you know that a shirt, if you need to buy 3 of them, you know the shirt will cost you 300 shillings. You know. Not that somebody is doubling or tripling the amount because they've said that the school must buy from here.
You've actually hit the nail on the proverbial head, because it's the same government that has managed to regularize fuel.
Yep.
Same. This is a far simpler thing. Far, far simpler.
Even school fees, they have come up and said, this is the range of school fees for this
that
kind
you
of
may
school.
charge.
This
Yes.
is the range.
Yes.
This is the range for. Can do the same and say, uniform. This is the range.
Yes.
I mean,
it's not that
0719-012-600. Do you know somebody? Are you going through this? Are you taking your child to school? How much are you being asked to pay for school fees, for, you know, all this uniform extras, the books? In fact, we have not even talked about books.
I beg.
All these things. How much? Or do you know somebody who's going to school? Just let us know. Let's talk about it. Zachary.
Oh, good morning, people.
Good morning.
Oh, today you sound very happy, all of you. Including Mwalimu, the Guka, Do there is also happy.
It's the end of half term. All of you people are coming back to work.
No, it must be because of the end of the month. So your pockets are very hot.
Yeah.
And it is good. Now, let me say this, Mr. Eric, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'm trying to go around and talk to people and see how they are faring. And let me tell you this point.
Yep.
That if you don't have money, if you don't have a source of income in Kenya, there's a term that Kina Mwalimu Andrews there used to teach us in school, extinction, the word extinction. Those people are being, they are heading to extinction, yeah? Why do I say this? Look at the basic things that the poor person used to rely on, to have hope. Look at agriculture. I'm telling you the truth that this year, not many small-scale farmers are going to be able to get something from their farms because the cost of production of probably a debe of waru or maize, it's high, it's very high, yeah?
Yep.
come now to school. In my days when I used to go to school, there was no this you at the fancy thing at the class, you for what you golfing at the stick is what. No, we go to school to study and to run. Not we are not going to on a
fashion show.
holiday camp. You know, I think we needed to have to do this, do that. This is nonsense. And let me say this, yeah. If you go to any school, that these provincial schools, national schools, yeah, at the gate, you will find so many people parking their fuel gas. Those are the guys who get kids caught minimally, and they are waiting for slots from Baboizera, from Eric, who actually they are very sure those people will not be able to afford this place. Yeah.
Yep.
In fact, I got one who was telling me, "Oh, I used the Zachary who just last week. Yeah, I used the Zachary who we hear on
Spice."
On Spice. I told him, yes, he shook my hand very, 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 very hardly, yeah? And told me that I'm a silent listener and we know you, we love. And I've gone to so many places. I use Zachary, the one who, and I like that. I tell them,
sasa simama kiti.
Now, let me say this, yeah? Starting from the things that we are being told to buy, the uniform, the buckets, the hot, plus also coupled with the prices of textbooks that are being changed after every 1 week, yeah?
Yep.
This is bad. And it is denying the common person the chance actually to realize the Kenyan dream or the world dream of.
Yep.
Education to everybody. Give a chance to everybody to demonstrate that they are worth and they have got the potential. But this, did you buy buckets? Did you buy buckets? For what? Buy did you pour what? For what? Mr. Eric, yeah?
Okay.
A school is not a holiday camp. It is a place where we go to sharpen the... I remember when we were in Form 1, yeah?
Yeah.
We had like now 3 pairs of... three in the school I attended. 3 purovers, yeah? But we would be ordered, can you take those purovers out? Off because they are the ones that are making you sleep. You sleep and you are not concentrating. You see? So many people are suffering, my friend. And somebody from the Ministry of Education should think about it and tell the principals, stop this nonsense. Let the kids come and study. Yeah?
That's true.
Have a nice day, guys.
You too, Zachary. 0719-012-600. What are you going through? What have you heard people going through when it comes to taking the children to Form 1? There's a lot. I mean, if you just think about the books that you need to buy, the uniform that you need to purchase, then the school fees, and many schools are saying, you've got to pay the full amount all at once. This pain, I like what you said, Ndu, that it's about time that the government, the Ministry of Education actually stepped in and said, hey, hold on. Hold on. This is the standard school uniform in public schools across the country.
Right.
You can't have some schools that is you bow tie.
For what? What are we talking about? I think
3 sets of jerseys. 3.
Imagine.
Polo neck, half, full. What? And then jumper, then the hoodie thing, then...
Do shorts, vests.
No. What for?
No.
And we haven't even talked about the shoes, because the next thing will be now shoes.
Yeah.
Sports shoes, shoes.
It must be regularized because we're hurtling down this road of things getting worse. It's going to get worse. And remember, all of these things that are being bought now, we're in a 9-month school calendar. Sorry. 8. We're in an 8-month school calendar. And then the term ends at the end of November.
Yes, it does.
Then you're going to come in January and tell them to buy again.
Now, there's something here. Books will be provided for.
By who?
It's Kamusi. You're buying?
No, I'm just asking.
No.
Which books?
Yes.
You will buy Kamusi. Kamusi ya lugha. Kamusi ya lahaja. Kamusi ya methali. Kamusi ya...
You buy Methali, you buy the Bible. You buy the Bible.
The Bible has to be a specific Bible.
You buy dictionary, the specific edition, not just anyone that you like. You went to the bookstore and say, it says dictionary.
Yes.
Let's buy this one. No.
Do they still buy logbooks?
don't know.
Buy
The other day we were
logbook.
being told
I
that
don't
the
know.
math teacher said you must buy, I don't know, which notebook for writing formulas.
Yes. This is nonsense. Mercy in Ruaka, good morning.
Morning to you. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
I'm a parent in Lytton Boys High School.
Uh-huh.
The issue about school uniform.
Yes.
Currently, I'm a Form 4 parent in that school. When I took my son there in Form 1, that is in 2019, the story about the polo neck was not compulsory. Lytton is in Kericho County. At times it's so cold when it's rainy. You know, the tea plantations there and whatever.
Yep.
So they usually have the is it called that sweater, that small one, the windbreaker,
Uh-huh.
and the normal pullover. And then by then the polo neck was optional.
Okay.
It was not a must. Now some parents bought for their sons, others didn't. But you know what? Later on, when it is cold, these boys, they break into other boys, whatever,
Lockers.
boxes, lockers and hanging lines. They steal the polo neck.
polos.
You find a child with a chest problem, his polo neck has been stolen and the parent has to buy it again. Now the parents decided to make it mandatory. It's the parents' decision. We decided that let it be mandatory that each and every student
will have a polo.
this year have a polo neck to ease the burden on the other parents whose polo necks are stolen. You see.
So we can understand the polo neck.
Boys, these our children are the ones who are making things tough for us. If our children could be contented with whatever they have and stop stealing. And some situations are brought by to create uniformness.
It's yeah.
Some-
And also for
some
harmony in the school.
students-
But Mercy,
For harmony in the school.
So-
Even the buying of you see these colors, they have shades.
yes.
You can be told a maroon, and then you look. This maroon looks like kind of purple. This maroon looks like faded. You see, and one student will feel, I don't know, the adolescence in them. They'll tend to love the other team, and they might steal. Those boys are many, over 2,000 in a school. How can you control them, my dear?
So let me ask you.
You see, like these other day schools and the county schools, but these big schools,
Problems.
kuna shida nyingi sana huko.
I can understand now the polo neck because you've said the polo neck. It's a cold zone. So if you have the polo neck, do you still need the short sleeved jacket?
At times you see the weather. At times it is warm. Hot. No, it has never been hot.
So it's warm.
I've never seen that place being hot. At times it is warm.
So it's warm.
And then there is a time when all of them, like in parade, you have to be in
uniform.
You have to remove that polo neck to be
seen.
Yeah. But at night and in them, and those, you find it is raining 24/7.
Yeah, that's true.
And the school, I
Kericho.
wish one day you visit the school. The school has a beautiful scenery, trees all over. So it is raining. Plus the tea plantations in the neighborhood. What do you expect?
Hata sijui. Thank you, Mercy.
Na hawa watoto hata mtu anavunja tu loka yako kuiba hiyo polo neck tu.
Thank you,
Sio kitu
Mercy.
ingine. Anavunja sanduku kuiba polo neck.
Thank you. Thank you for your contribution. Thank you very much. So you can, in some cases, like this one, I can understand the polo neck. I don't understand the short sleeve.
Neither do I.
Because there's a long sleeve jacket, there's a polo neck jacket, there's a short sleeve jacket.
I still don't understand the polo neck.
City.
No, sincerely, I don't.
Because it's not the only school in the region.
No, it is not.
There are primary schools where with younger kids.
Yes. There are very many schools around. There are many. There are really many.
But as you've heard, it starts with parents. So parents like, oh, my child has a chest problem, so let me buy them this and the other. And then now it starts becoming like the standard. There's peer pressure. There is now start stealing from one another. So school administration, let's standardize this thing. You guys like the polo neck? Okay, everybody, polo neck. It's madness. We'll continue the conversations. Ndu, Colgate?
Buy Colgate this morning, this afternoon, over the next couple of days at any Naivas, and 10 shillings of that goes towards making sure that 30 more water wells are sunk around the country so that 120,000 Kenyans can benefit from clean water, whether for drinking or home use. Well boring together with Colgate are making this possible, and you can help too.
Indeed. CT, the day's proverb.
Yes.
From Bangui.
Yes. A big river is enlarged by its tributaries.
The capital city of Central African Republic is?
Bangui.
Okay, Bangui.
Yeah. Bangui. Have a lovely day, folks, and thank you very much for tuning in to Kenya's biggest conversation. We'll be back tomorrow morning, God willing, from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. It's now 10 o'clock.
Spice up your life. The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning. This is Newswire. I am Stephanie Wangari. Mombasa Governor Ali Hassan Joho has set the stage for a clash between ODM leader Raila Odinga and his Wiper counterpart Kalonzo Musyoka over Mike Sonko's entry into the Mombasa gubernatorial race. Joho castigated the move by